Broadcasting from the 92.3 The Fan Studio, filled by True North Convenience Stores, WKRK-FM, and HD1 Cleveland Heights. This is the radio home of the Cleveland Browns. 92.3 The Fan. An Odyssey Sports Station.
92.3 The Fan, 2020 Sports.
This 2020 Sports brought to you by Smiley One Heating, Cooling, and Plumbing, and Bryant, Cleveland's premier heating and cooling service providers. Cavaliers looking to snap a 3-game losing streak as they played host to the team that started the skid, the Charlotte Hornets. Donovan Mitchell makes sure the streak would not hit 4.
Mitchell, 3 seconds. Pull up from the logo. Oh, glass! Cash money!
Back courtesy of the NBA on Peacock. Good guys take it. 139-132. Mitchell, 30 points. Darius Garland, double-double, 27 points and 10 assists. Cavs also snapped a 3-game skid at home. DeAndre Hunter, 15 of his 27 points in the second half. To be out nearly 5 weeks with a hand injury, Sam Merrill returned 4 points off the bench. Browns running back Quinshon Judkins done for the season. Suffered a dislocated right ankle and broken right fibula during the loss against the Bills. However, head coach Kevin Stefanski did provide some good news about the rookie on Monday.
Quinshon, he'll get surgery this week. Expect him to make full recovery. Knowing the kid, he'll bounce back better than ever. So disappointed for him, but he's in good hands and he will bounce back.
Did Quinshon have any knee damage? I thought there was some early reporting that said he might be evaluated for that.
No, sir.
Judkins is expected to have surgery today. There's an expected time frame of 4 to 6 months for his recovery. Monday Night Football's heard right here on 92.3 The Fan. 49ers beat the Colts 48-27. Brock Purdy passed for a career-high 5 touchdowns. 49ers now 11-4. They won 5 straight, with the Colts losing. Buffalo, Jacksonville, and the Chargers all clinched playoff spots in the AFC. And Ohio State head coach Ryan Day says he'll be calling the offensive plays when the Buckeyes take on Miami in the college football playoffs. Don't miss the Kevin Stefanski Show, 7 o'clock tonight, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas. Up next time for the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima here on 92.3 The Fan.
I don't think that Jimmy Haslam, like his family, are looking to get rid of Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. However, I just think the way all this has gone the last couple of years requires the conversation, and whether or not there's a road out for this particular group and that particular franchise. I think sometimes you get to a point where things are so tangled up that it just gets to the point where maybe it's time for a clean break.
Listen for the MMQB's Albert Breer, Tuesdays at 5:20 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan. The Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima.
Mitchell, 3 seconds. Pull up from the logo. Cash money. Usher with 22 off the bench. Oh, post over on Kent Nipple. And it drops. Open the lob. Toss it up. To the moon. Froze throwing it down in front of Santa. And the Cavaliers will dribble out the clock. They'll snap their 3-game losing skid and get some payback on the Hornets team that beat them less than 10 days ago. 139-132 our final score.
Stick with it. We both been saying the same thing, hey, this is an easy stretch. He's been through this when they won the championship in Golden State. I've been through this several times in Utah. Just continue to be, a great leader. Both of us, him and myself, continue positive because, if you tuck your tails and hang your head, that's not going to get you anything.
This is Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
Audio courtesy of Peacock. Well, everything's fixed.
Oh, is it?
On to the Eastern Conference Finals we go. That's the way it sounded last night, man.
Oh, did they?
Oh, yeah.
Did they have some fun in that? Did the Junkyard Dog make its return?
They
after they gave up 132 to the Hornets.
Donovan's tried tough love. They don't go the right way with tough love, so fine, to hell with it. Fine. You want to play patty cakes, play patty cakes. I'll take whatever. You can't be losing bad basketball games like that. And I saw who was going to be out, and I'm like, But there was a bunch of people out for the Hornets. I go, well, it's going to be a tough one anyway. Let's see where it goes. And then DeAndre Hunter had his first good game in what felt like forever.
Well, really, Darius
had a good game.
Darius and DeAndre had their best games of the year, so that's what you needed to get past the Hornets at home. And they made all their threes.
Come on, be positive.
They had by far their best three-point shooting day of the year.
This team responds to positivity.
That's
they
right.
do not respond to adversity. The Cavs Surfside Report brought to you by the fine folks at Surfside, who ask you to please drink responsibly. They needed this
in a big, big way.
Tone, they were hunky-dory in the postgame, man. Everybody was happy. Everybody was thrilled.
Well, you wondered just how down they were getting because the league started to take notice. When the league starts to take notice, it's one thing to kind of, throw the balls out there when you got all those injuries in the first 20 or so games. But, now they've played 30 games, and it's pretty clear that they have huge problems that they're going to have to overcome. And that's just to fix the regular season. We're not even talking. We can't even begin to fast forward and think about the playoffs. which is, at times that's what we were doing last year. Last year, throughout the season, they were winning all these games, and they had so many of the Cavalanches, and it was just, you pick the night. Oh, it's a Darius night. Oh, it's a Donovan night.
Yeah.
Even a Jared Allen could have a night. Then they traded for DeAndre Hunter. He played well. Then it was off the bench. Guys were, filling it up. And every game, they'd have 3 or 4 guys that would be having amazing games. And so, the last third of the season, me and you start saying, well, they're crushing all these teams. Now we got to start comparing them to the Boston Celtics, which is what we did constantly.
Everybody compared to the Celtics.
What's that?
It was halfway through the year. People were saying
it's a collision course.
Can this team beat the Celtics? Can they beat the Celtics? Can they beat the Celtics? That was the whole thing. And then there were people going, I think this team can beat the Celtics.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, you started to have real reason to believe it, because it seemed like it was going to be really hard to beat the Cavs in a 7-game series. And then we ran into the Indiana Pacers, and then you had injuries, and they had that amazing comeback in game 1, and that was the series. Felt like our guys didn't really mentally feel like they could beat Indiana, and Indiana ends up being this unbelievable postseason story. But it led us to come into the season going, well, we're not going to even talk regular season. Donovan Mitchell, the famous quote, "Oh, we could go 82-0 next year, and no one's going to care." And then they come out and they just don't play any defense. They don't get back in transition. They can't crush teams on the glass despite having the 2 7-footers. Mm-hmm. The whole league changes overnight. Teams are full court pressing. Teams have guys you've never heard of coming off the bench. And look, last night, we were in command of that game in the fourth quarter. You still gave up 132 and 20-some threes to the Hornets.
That's
defense, one of the worst teams in basketball.
The defense was horrific. But I got to the point where I'm like, man, I can't keep just beating down on them.
Yeah, you needed a win.
I just needed a win. I had a buddy who commented, we're going to give up 145 points, and I go, as long as we score 146, I don't care. I got to get a win. That's kind of where we're at right now.
Well, especially because their schedule coming up. Have you seen, how different things are going to be now? They played so many easy teams.
And they lost to them.
I
got to get something. Anyway, Darius Garland yesterday. How do you build off that Hornets win, Darius?
Keep the same confidence, same intensity on both ends of the floor, and try to get better and better each game. This was a great start just to get us going, since we have been on a little stretch that we don't like to be on. So it's really good to see everybody happy in the locker room. No boos in the crowd. So that was really good, and a lot more cheers. So trying to get back to Cavaliers basketball, man.
Charlotte now 9-20 on the season. DeAndre Hunter, you had a big game. Is it big to snap the streak?
Felt great. Definitely don't want to go on any losing streaks. So to get any win, feels good. Definitely builds the morale and everything like that.
Charlotte now 3-12 away from Charlotte, North Carolina. Okay, here comes Dad. Here's Donovan Mitchell to cool everybody's jets.
We didn't crack any code. This isn't like a victory lap. This isn't something where we're like, we're back. We got a big stretch coming up. So continuing to be who we are and continue to be positive.
I'm happy that they won. I'm getting a weird stealing feeling. If it hasn't already happened, it might have already happened, but I think we would have found out. There might be a come to Jesus moment here. If we are having some fun with it, and I'd rather they beat the Hornets than lose to the Hornets. I'm just calling Donovan Dad because he's the one who seems to be like, guys, you got to get this going here. And I tell you what, he's taking Jalen Tyson under his wing. Jalen Tyson's a tough-talking kid. I like Jalen Tyson. But it's this ain't good enough. I think that he's...
Well, you should have your second-year player being a guy that tries to bring the team together, which is what Tyson's been doing, especially with all the veterans they have.
But you think about this, I would like to say, Jalen Tyson doesn't know any better. Jalen Tyson went to 3 different schools, and he's seen it all. All right? But he's clearly tough. Mm-hmm. He's clearly a guy I think there's people that can push some Cavs guys around. I don't know if Jalen Tyson's the type of guy that can be shoved around already. I think some guys might test him, but I think that he might rise to that occasion. But Jalen Tyson talks tough, and I think that he does it because you're going to go under the wing of leadership. And the wing of leadership is extended by Donovan Mitchell. So Donovan, the other guy, what did we talk about 2 years ago? Donovan, was it the Jason Lloyd report where Donovan was a little bit perturbed The lack of seriousness from Darius Garland. He was a little bit. Do you remember that report now? Huh? I jogged your memory. He was a little bit upset with the lack of seriousness from Darius Garland, and like you hear, like, hey, yeah, it's good to get the skid snapped and get going, and we could build off this. And Donovan's like, yeah, I ain't gonna get excited about a win over the Hornets. And I'm going, man, like if they go out there and you talked about their schedule, man, they start handing in some eggs against some of these teams, some farts against some of these teams. Yeah, Donovan might have a come to Jesus moment with everybody where it gets very public and very nasty.
Well, they have.
It seems like dear old dad ain't very thrilled right now.
They are back at it. It's a back-to-back against New Orleans tonight.
Pelicans.
They've won 5 in a row because Zion is back and healthy.
Is Zion going to play tonight?
I think so.
Home.
I think so.
Zion's going to play tonight.
I think so, but we are 9.5-point favorites, so maybe Vegas knows something. Then it's at the Knicks on Christmas Day to start out that entire schedule. Then at Houston, and obviously Houston has been really, really good. Then after that, it is at San Antonio, Phoenix at home, Denver at home, Detroit at home. And then they got 2 in a row against Minnesota with an Indiana game sandwich in between. So they've had one of the easiest schedules in the NBA so far.
Is that bad? Is that bad for us in our future?
Who knows? I mean, if they turn into the Cavs,
I know what you're saying.
If they turn into the Cavs that we expect them to be, then it shouldn't matter who you play. It shouldn't matter. Maybe this gets their level of competition up. You got Sam Merrill coming back.
I hope so.
Max Strus is not going to be back for this stretch, but he will be coming back. So internally, you know what they're saying, because Kenny has said it a bunch of times. Like, we just need to get whole. We just need to get whole. The problem with that is in the NBA, if teams are waiting for them to be whole, then a lot of those teams are just going to have disappointing years, because this is just the way the league works. 82 games, guys are always going down. You're always having stretches of games, especially when you have more veterans than young guys. And that's what the Cavs have now. They have more veterans than young guys. You tend to have also guys that, have bumps and bruises. I mean, the Darius thing, he looks like normal Darius the last week, but we know that injury is very tenuous, that he could have one bad moment, one grimace, and then we're wondering how he's going to be over the next 2 weeks.
So speaking of Darius, there was another thing that you forwarded to us yesterday. The Kings are now interested in Darius here. What's going on here?
Supposedly,
because this is another day that passes, and it's like, does Darius want out? Because who's putting this out? Does Darius want out, or the Cavs?
So that's what I want. So that's what I wonder. Because Darius last year was having an all NBA year until the last month and a half, and his shooting went south, and then the injuries started happening. But Darius looked like a guy who, hey, give me my own team, and I could probably do Trae Young stuff. Put up 25 to 30 a night. Will it be on a winning team? Who knows? I mean, that's always been kind of the question with Trae, although Trae has had some great playoff moments. Darius really hasn't. So, obviously, when he is healthy, when he is right, Darius is certainly capable of handling the ball over the course of a game and getting shots off and being able to shoot from everywhere, all 3 levels.
Let me ask you this. Do you believe, though, that it's Darius or his agent that's putting out the feelers, or is it more the Cavs that are putting out the feelers?
That's what
Which one
I find it hard to believe that any of the bad teams in the league, like Sacramento, are like, the one thing we need is Darius to be our best player. Because that, to me, is a formula for probably 35 wins. I'm just not seeing. Darius is a great number 2 or number 3 would be awesome.
So does that mean this is going to turn into an investigation with you? I'm going to put you on the spot here. So does that mean
where
that's
is it coming from?
Does that mean that's more Darius saying that sort of thing? The Kings are interested in it.
Look, I imagine,
or Darius's agent.
Yeah, it's hard to say, because as long as Darius is playing alongside Donovan, he's never going to be the guy. It's always going to be Donovan's team. And
I think as long as Darius is playing against anybody but Colin Sexton, it's going to be someone else's team.
Well, people astutely pointed out that this kind of mirrors the Kyrie thing, except without the winning. Like Kyrie...
Yeah, but Kyrie's better than Darius. He was better than Darius.
Yeah, I thought so. There were people that were telling me the last year that Darius was actually...
No. Come on.
Actually his ceiling was better than Kyrie's. I was never somebody who bought into that.
Okay.
But we knew that Kyrie was never playing alongside of LeBron. All the benefits of playing alongside of LeBron The negatives are you'll never be the guy. And, Kyrie was a dude that had a famous shoe deal, was wanting to be in movies, was, before some of the missteps off the court, Kyrie was seen in that stature. Darius has never been that. And maybe Darius is feeling that's never going to happen here as long as Donovan's here. And now Evan,
I don't think
when the team prioritized Evan Mobley this year coming into the season.
Well, yeah, but I think that's what the universe should be telling him if he feels that way. Now, this is making him out to be a total villain here. I understand that. But I think, though, that it's not to make Darius out to be a bad guy. It's about realism hitting Darius, is that this is it. Like, if you want to be on a competitive team, like, yeah, you're right. Like, if you wanted to go to Sacramento and win 35 games in a season and get what do you think he would average in Sacramento? Remember, every bad team has to have the guy who scores all the points.
Yeah.
So if you want to average 28 a night, you go right on ahead and go right over there.
He's had years here. Well, with Donovan, the best he's done is 20 points a game.
Yeah.
He could easily score 25, 26.
Again,
especially
on a bad
in this
team,
league, the way this league is going right now with all the pacing, so many more possessions.
Yeah. You can get your 25, 28. I said 28 a night. Go and get your 28 a night on a bad team where no one really takes you seriously. I mean, not everybody can share that. There has to be a Pippen to a Jordan here. Now, I'm using the biggest example possible. There has to be a Pippen to a Jordan. There has to be a Kyrie to a LeBron.
He's also
it's still
eligible.
A team game.
He's also eligible for another max extension. And the Cavs, I don't think they're rushing to get that done now,
either, especially with the history there. But there might be a team that
they've got Evan and Donovan, and this cap thing, guys. Their payroll this year, if you add the tax, if they just continued the roster for the rest of the year, is in the 390s. It's why a lot of people think they could, if they're still 7-8 seed, they could be dumping contracts.
So that's what tells me that would be the Cavs putting that out there. Then that it would be the Cavs movement there. That they're not in a hurry to sign him to an extension. I think a lot of fans are like, nah. Okay? And when you just said about how much you're spending on the salary and that if it gets any worse, like you're a 7-8 seed, you don't want to be spending that type of money on a 7-8 seed, like that would tell me Cavs. So, like, there's a lot of ins and outs and what have yous here. Like, Darius, okay, I don't want to turn him into a bad guy, though, if it's not worthy of him being a bad guy. Like, I'll call a bad guy. But if he's not a bad guy, then the hell with it.
I've never thought he was a bad guy.
Okay, NBA version of a bad guy where it's like you want out of a good team. Like we looked at Kyrie, it's like, oh God, how could you want out of this? Well, yeah, you are going to draw the ire of that. So I don't want to put the mouth on him if it's the Cavs doing, because I could see where he would want out. Well, I really couldn't, but I've seen that type of thing before looking at basketball. So I don't agree with him, but I could see where it's happened.
I would just love to know in a moment of truth.
See where the Cavs would want to get rid of him.
I'd love to know. I know we got to go. The moment of truth. I would love to know what Donovan thinks of playing alongside Darius in his prime years.
I really think we're about to find out here shortly because this schedule is going to be tougher, and I think everybody's like, okay, you beat the Hornets, great. Like, we got to get going here. So if they rise to the occasion, this will all go away and everything will be fine. If it doesn't, I think we're going to have some real big moments coming up here. Coming up next is serviceable. That's in 5 on the Fan.
XTEND, AV.com, Extend Technologies. You want to talk about providing an excellent service and state-of-the-art technology and doing so at a premium? Well, that, of course, is Extend Technologies in Broadview Heights. But pay attention because we've only got a few more days to establish contact with Tony Fabric and the crew at Extend Technologies to begin a project. And if it snows more than 8 inches or more, on February 8th, pretty big football day. Is that what that is, Kenny?
That many.
What are you using that as a measurement?
Just 2 hands. Just my hands.
Go to YouTube right now. You can see it.
Like I'm Norm Abram over here. I think that's about 8 inches.
Don't let it fluctuate. Keep it at 8.
That's not 8 inches. What are you talking about? That's 8.
He said
that's not 5 inches. That's 8 inches. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me messed up on that.
Don't forget, the first 2 inches can kind of melt, and so you don't realize it's been, but they count it.
Well, no. On February 8th,
and low-cost tuition. Learn more at try-c.edu/business.
Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Let me ask you this, both of you guys. Scale 1 to 10. 10, he played amazing. 1, he played terrible. What would you say yesterday for Shedeur?
I think I said 5 or 6. I think I called it a C plus B minus game.
And I was thinking like a 6, yeah.
That was Nick and Jonathan with Ross Tucker yesterday. So I love to bring the private public. I just sat there and watched Lima and my boss have it out, and Lima got increasingly angry because he thought he just assumed I was agreeing with Keith. And I'm just like, no, I saw you guys texting each other like crazy on the thread, and I just decided to not say anything because, Lima, you drew umbrage with the 5 or the 6 and it being a C or a B type of average.
I know grade inflation. That used to be like a hallmark of the Ivies where every kid would come into college with a 4.5, and I'm like, all right, we kind of have to recalibrate the grading. When did 5 out of 10 turn into a B minus? What school did Jonathan? What school did Nick go to where that was the grading scale?
Where did Jonathan go? Didn't he go to like Wichita State?
No, he worked in Wichita, but he was in like I think in the St. Louis area.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought he went to Wichita State.
It was a smaller school.
Oh, okay.
He worked in Wichita, his first job in radio, though.
And Nick went to BGZ.
So I have a grading scale in front of me, Kenny. You'll be interested to know that 80 to 83% is considered a B minus.
Okay.
He rated him at a 5 or a 6.
Well, that'd be a 50% or a 60%.
If I look at my corresponding numbers, that would be called an F. According to the grade scale that I have in front of me, that is universal. That I've never seen any other grading scale say otherwise.
My kid's report card came home first quarter, and it said he got a 5 or 6 out of 10 in English. And that's kind of like a B minus. It said all of that in a sentence.
Notice it wasn't math.
Well, I hate to be such a stickler here, but I think that I understood where Nick and Jonathan were coming from. Because I thought more 5 or 6 range there, and I thought it was middle of the road, and I thought that middle of the road was fine. And like if you asked me, I said C or C minus yesterday is what I said. Go back and check the tape.
Yeah.
That's what I said. So if I'm saying 5 and 6, then I guess I'm the one who's got to be jumped to for this.
I didn't jump you for that. I had him at probably a C minus. But I also
you would put him at a 7?
I also know what a C minus is on the grade scale. I would not call that a 5.
But it's weird because if you were going to go, if Kenny was a student back in the day out of 1 to 10, how would you rate him? And it's like, well, he had a 2.5. Okay, well then what would he end up having? Like, what would you say?
Yeah.
He was a 6? He was a 5? Well, okay, that would put me at a D. So I just think we think of two different things. We think of scale of 1 to 10 and grades.
Pick either. Are we going to do centimeters or inches when we're talking about how much snow it needs to be for Extend Technologies?
I think it's pretty easy right now. Power rank the grading scales. What's the best type of grading scale?
Dewey
Is it
Decimal
1 to
System.
10? Is it A, B, C, D, E, F?
Which one more accurately kind of seizes?
All right, how we go this?
Is
the
it
grading
QBR?
scales?
Is it 36.8?
It's EPA per dropback. Who, by the way, Jonathan astutely pointed out, he had a higher EPA Shedeur did than Josh Allen on Sunday.
Take that, Josh.
Yeah. Now, Josh Allen was going up against Myles Garrett, and Josh Allen, Shedeur Sanders was going up against the Buffalo defense that came in 30th against the run.
He was going up against the fabulous Rougeau brothers.
Gregory Rougeau.
Who ended up getting 7 hits, 6
Became
or 7
the Mountie
hits.
halfway through the game.
He did.
I hate you that you said his name the wrestling way, and now I will never be able to say it again because it just throws me off. And so I'm going to say it in mixed company, and people are going to go, Rousseau? I'm like, yeah, sorry.
One of the Mounties, yeah.
He's close enough to Canada. What the hell,
They had
right?
like 4 different Canadian factions.
Right. So is serviceable?
So I thought he was. In the end, I agreed. I thought he was
serviceable enough.
I thought he was serviceable. I do not think, and this is going to be really challenging. I think that's been a theme. I think we called that out before the season when he was 4th string. It was going to be hard for him to get the opportunities, then play well enough, and then the Browns would have to be in a certain range in the draft for them not to move on. And I think we are confronted with that at the end of the year. I think I accurately called that out to start the season.
Yeah, and I think you're right, because I'm fighting it myself. I told everybody last week, and I mean it, and I'm going to continue to mean it. I'm trying to keep an open mind, because he is not nearly as lost as I thought he was going to be. I told you, I came in, what was it, Wednesday before that Raiders game, and I go, guys, they don't think very highly of him. They've given him very little of anything. He's not playing with good talent around him. This is going to be an absolute disaster. And it wasn't an absolute disaster. And you've had one game that was really bad, but the other ones have been fair to middle and to good. I mean, you did have a good game. Even though they lost it, you did have a good game. And I think that we are evaluating what can he do with XYZ. Can he be worth that investment? And the one thing I keep telling you that I'm fighting are those saying, well, we need all these other things. No. We need to discuss Shedeur first. If you truly believe that Shedeur can be a guy that you can give 17 games to next year, that's where you start. Because I don't want to hear it, because you're going to end up with the top 2 pick. You're not going to win either of these 2 games. So you're going to end up with a top 2 pick.
There is one thing. I mean, the Bengals may not be trying to win the last game of the year. And the Steelers might have the division clinched and cannot go any higher.
Okay, well,
and they already have a slew of injuries.
I'll believe it when we cross those bridges. I think you have a good 85 to 90% chance of having a top 2 pick, because I don't think you're winning another game this year. So I think you're going to end up 3-14, and then you have to discuss it's Shedeur versus the field. Mm-hmm. It can't be, because guys, you know damn well it's still a quarterback league. So I know they need linemen and wide receivers and X, Y, and Z and all these other things. They got 9 other picks. When I hear people say, we need all these other things, you're just telling me you're afraid. Start with Shedeur. Because if you're saying we need all these other things, then you really don't believe as much in Shedeur. So then you're just afraid,
because you don't think he overcomes that.
So then you're afraid of ruining another guy's future or buying into another guy. Because I still think, and you could say what you want to about how good he is or how good he isn't. I still think a lot of us are reeling from years later where, they gave up on Baker. I think he's come back down to earth a little bit because he's not as healthy now. But I still think that there's some people kind of nervous to fall back in love with a quarterback again. Because a lot of the folks I keep hearing that they say, we need other things, they're not big Shedeur fans. So do you just want to play with 10?
Well,
when's it going to be perfect enough?
Don't we know in this league
that guy?
That and I don't know, I have no idea if Mendoza or Moore right now, there's still more games to be played. In fact, I call them high leverage games because they're going up against the best talent, NFL guys all over the map.
Yeah.
So far, Mendoza's checked almost every box this season. Of course, they'll look at the totality of everything. They'll see what his capacity is to get better. He's going to, he'll knock the interviews out of the park and all that stuff. But the one thing you've got to pay attention to here is if in that league, when Jaden Daniels overcame all the organizational incompetence to have the year he did last year, CJ Stroud did the exact same thing his rookie year in Houston. Drake May, there were a bunch of the film gurus last year that were like, oh my God, he's good. He's really good. They just needed some guys around him, but it's not like they added so much talent around Drake May. They added a coach, and they added Josh McDaniels, arguably as good as any offensive coordinator there is in football in terms of a schemer.
Yes, you were right.
So obviously all that stuff helped, but you could see it his rookie year. He had the worst coaching in the NFL, some of the worst coaching last year, and you could tell that guy is going to be just fine.
Because I don't want to make a decision based on fear. And I think that we need to discuss this. Like, if it's going to start with it, like, have this discussion on Christmas Day with everybody. Because it can't just be, I'm afraid of a quarterback, Wait, no. Go back to the way it's supposed to be. Start the discussion with Shedeur and work your way out. Is Shedeur, by the end of this, do you believe he's going to be good enough to not take Dante Moore, to trade out of that position? And as of right now, I think there's a possibility. I do. I want to work from Shedeur on my way out. Now, but this is part of what's being open-minded, is I got to see him not just on Saturday against JMU. I got to see him throughout this college football playoff. I want to see how he responds to pressure. I want to see how he responds to all these things that are going after him now. And I also know that if you get the number 1 or number 2 pick, That's where this conversation is going to start with whoever's the coach going into next year. If you have interviews, it's going to be what you are specifically planning on doing at that quarterback position. That's where that's going to start and finish. So I want to have the conversation, but I want to have it the right way. You do need all those things. You do need all those things, but you will languish and waste that talent if you don't believe you have a quarterback enough who can take advantage of those skills that you have. You've seen it already. So I understand, but if you don't like Dante Moore, go and say you don't like Dante Moore. If you don't like Fernando Mendoza, say it. Say it with your chest and mean it. Because I think a lot of us are speaking from fear of just ruining another quarterback. Yeah, it wouldn't be a great situation. It really would not be a great situation. Teams that draft at the top of the draft usually are in 99 times out of 100 drafts are in a real bad situation. That's why they take these guys, because it's still the most important position. And it can change your fortunes dramatically.
And if you hit it, it makes up for half of your deficiencies instantly.
But I have to ask, what's good enough? Has this been good enough for Shedeur Sanders as we get ready to break for Christmas? 216-474-0092, and coming up at 7:01, it's not just got to happen. It's got to look good when it happens. Ken Carman, Tone Master General on the Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for Drive Class.
touchdown for your future. Visit KimballCompanies.com/careers to apply today and get in the huddle with a winning team.
Route 8 north from Graham to 271 is clear of obstructions, as well as 480 east from 176 to Warrensville Center. This is Joe Checkeye for 92.3 The Fan.
When you want the latest on the Cavs, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
So what's good enough for Shedeur? I think it's weird because I'm trying to remain as neutral about this as possible. I know I really like Shedeur. But at the same time, I also don't want to just look past a great quarterback that we could possibly be getting and get this thing righted and get this thing going. Like, yeah, I tend to look at it. I tend to grade him on a curve. If we're talking about curves, I tend to grade him on a curve. Because one, I do like him. Two, he's done way better than I thought. Again, I thought it was going to be an out-and-out blind leading the blind disaster. And I'm not seeing that. There's growth there, and I'm thinking, okay, what can we do if we had an entire year? But I think you also have to be cognizant of what could happen if you give him 17 games next year and the thing goes nowhere. And this thing goes nowhere with a new head coach and everybody like that. Like, there's so much pressure that's starting to build right now. And I think that there were some people who were anti-Shedeur, and they've kind of gotten upset with me over this. And I'm going, guys, I'm just trying to be fair. I saw what Dante Moore did. Dante Moore was impressive the other day. He was really impressive. I'm still not at the end of it yet, and I will give you a firm stance. When's the national championship? I'm not sure. After that, I'll give you a firm stance.
I think it's in March this year.
Yeah, somewhere in there. After that, I'll give you a firm stance. But I'm not going to plant flags just yet and go after him just yet. So I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, there's no rush to do that today. Obviously, every conversation we have about, comparing Shedeur to the guys that are still in college, it all is about, incomplete evaluations. Part of it is incomplete on Shedeur. What I do, honestly, I'm being dead serious about this. What I'm nervous about now is I'm very curious to see what versions of Pittsburgh and Cincinnati we go up against the final 2 weeks, because they might not be normal games. And typically this is what happens late in December. Pittsburgh might have the division wrapped up. We'll find that out on Christmas night. And if that's the case, they're going to rest. You saw how many guys were already out for Pittsburgh.
That's an old style guy, and I know he's rested guys before, so I'm not going to act stupid on this. But I just don't think you're good.
Does Aaron Rodgers even play in that game?
They've rested guys before, and you still found a way to go 0-16.
Oh yeah,
Corey Coleman still found a way to drop that football.
That's a good point.
So you've done it before, so I still don't think you're good enough. And we got to get to this because I've said it before, and I think that we got to understand this here. I still do not believe, and I'm not going to share why. Not yet. I still don't believe that Andrew Berry was as strong-willed to take Shedeur as what some of us make him out to be. Okay? And I do believe that if Andrew Berry does stay, you are less likely to take a new quarterback, because now you are being told you have time to rebuild this thing. So you can go ahead and you could take your time and go, I don't really like Dante Moore for these reasons, or Mendoza for these reasons, if you really didn't want to. A new guy would come in and goes, probably, because I look at the way the rest of the NFL probably still feels about Shedeur. Excuse me, the way the rest of the NFL still feels about Shedeur, because we're the only ones who seem to talk about the guy. The rest of the NFL, they don't seem to take anything seriously with him and don't seem to bring anything up at all. You know it and I know it. And they don't think very highly of him. And I think a new guy would come in and go, no, whatever this is done. We move on. For a plethora of reasons that I will probably find unfair and I'll get upset about, because I don't want to go down a primrose path with somebody who I don't necessarily trust. I think that Andrew Berry, while I don't think that he was necessarily on board on that day to go, yes, let's get another quarterback, let's do this. You've had a year to see him behind the scenes. You've had a year to make yourself more comfortable with him. You've had a year to say, he can do this, and this.
It seems like he's definitely taking a step
with
forward.
those things.
Maybe
Yes,
a couple
I know
steps forward.
I know I'm saying a lot of this, and this. Let me tell you exactly what I mean by that. I mean, he can start to, he's going through the progression, he can go through the reads. And I start to think, what if he was given a better head start in August or during OTAs? What if he was given a little bit better of a head start during the offseason, which he would be going into 2027. All these arguments about reps and things like that, that's gone going into 2027. He's either the guy or he's competing for the job with another guy. That's how that's going to go. So he's going to get the reps and he's going to get the chances. But he's been able to check the progression. His eyes have gotten better. His feet have gotten better. There's been things that have got better. And if you're Andrew Berry, where I do believe that Andrew Berry came in probably a little bit side-eye going, okay, let's see what this lottery ticket is and we'll see if we can do it. When you have him in the building every day and he's a likable person, I think that, yeah, you can change your opinion on these things and go, maybe, just maybe, we did find our guy. Maybe we have another little bit of amount of time to go and find the other fixes for the other things that we need, and he can be the guy. But my issue with the whole conversation, and I'm going to continue to have it, Tone, is that it's got to start with Shedeur. Your confidence in him, then I branch out. It can't be, I'm afraid to take a quarterback, so we got to take an offensive lineman. We got to take a wide receiver. Got to take another wide receiver. Got to take another tight end. You got other picks. You got 9 other picks. You're going to have to make some moves. It's not like you have one draft pick and one draft pick only.
Well, the same stuff.
You got to tell me what you feel like Shedeur before we go into that.
I think one of the big flaws I'm hearing from a lot of people is the assumption that, and we would do this for any quarterback, well, hey, if you give Shedeur better wide receivers, better this, better that, better line, better this, better that. Yeah, you would say that for anybody. So that's not a reason in and of itself to keep Shedeur. You'd be trying to bolster whoever you got. You'd be trying to do that for Mendoza or more. You'd be trying to do that for Mac Jones or whoever you might, bring over. My God, could it be Kyler Murray? You could go through the whole list.
I'd much rather have Shedeur Sanders than Kyler Murray.
But I've seen Kyler
10 out of 10.
Kyler Murray's had elite play at times. Believe it or not, there are numbers to support that. But that's what I'm saying. Like you would try to bolster anybody. And what I'm curious to see too is like they know this better than anybody. Guys that evaluate in the NFL. It's been very interestingly over the years, like a bunch of guys have had sophomore years where they've gone down because of what? Film.
Yeah.
Film. Once the really good defensive coordinators.
They cannot meet the changes. You're exactly right. They cannot meet the changes that have been met for them.
Yeah, and so the assumption is always all these guys are going to get way better in year 2. And there is a lot of data to support that a lot of guys have struggles in their second year, trying because they're still seeing stuff they've never seen before.
Baker had struggles in 2019. Now that was another blind leading blind situation.
Yep.
But there were struggles there in year 2.
And who's our head coach next year? The assumption is the coaching gets better.
I'm not opening up the list.
A lot of situations where it actually doesn't.
216-474-0092. Let me get to Larry and Elyria real quick. Go ahead, Larry.
Hey, how's it going, Kenny Anthony? First of all, Merry Christmas, you guys.
Same to you, my friend. Go ahead.
Nice.
Made great point, Kenny, because I'm going to come back with you. You mentioned about if they keep Shedeur, right? And all of a sudden, what that's telling me right now, you're going to keep the same coaching staff if he's going to be here. That's my opinion. I could be wrong.
Really?
Or what they'll do now, what they're going to do now, if they let Coach Stefanski go, they bring Tommy Reeson as the head coach. Then they're going to stick with him. And the thing about Shedeur, too, you guys, what I like about him, most of the time, how he's been holding on to the ball when he first came here, the last game he played, I get it. What they did with him, trying to get the ball quick, that many yards. What they're trying to do is make sure he gets the ball fast enough so he'll hold on to the ball. That's the key. But let me come back, you guys. Kenny Anthony, a head coach. The guy won here, offensive coordinator here, beginning of the year, was Clint Kubiak. Could there be a possibility in this type of system?
Oh, I'm not going to tell you yet, Larry. I'm not going to tell you who's on the list just yet, Larry. But I will tell you this, and I got to let you go. And thank you very much for the kindness. And I wish a Merry Christmas to you and yours as well. What makes me more bullish on Shedeur is that I think you started to see the reasons during this 5-game period of why he might have fallen to some of these teams. And I think that he's answered a lot of those questions of, man, he's come such a long way to me in terms of his mechanics, in terms of his eyes. I think he's come a great deal because I think that when you fall, and whatever you want to about interviews, my God, we've been through that a million times. I think you look at habits and goes, can you change those habits quickly? And I think he's changed some habits very, very quickly. I'm actually surprised he's been able to change these habits this quickly. And that, to me, makes me think maybe you can work with him and he can be your guy. That's why I'm so open-minded. 216-474-0092. I think he's done a really great job of learning on the fly, considering everything that's going against this football team. Coming up at 8 o'clock this morning, John Greco going to join us on the show. I want to see what he thinks of Shedor's maturation, obviously. And it's not just got to happen. It's got to look good when it happens. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima, take us with you to work. If you're working today on 92.3 The Fan on the free Odyssey app, or watch us on YouTube as you walk around the house getting ready for your big holiday. Friends, Ken Carman here for Northeast Factor Direct and Northeast Factor Direct.
basketball with the Colts losing. Buffalo, Jacksonville, and the LA Chargers clinch playoff spots. And Ohio State head coach Ryan Day says he'll be the guy calling the offensive plays as the Buckeyes head into the college football playoffs to take on Miami New Year's Eve. Don't miss the Kevin Stefanski Show tonight, 7 o'clock, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
I saw a story yesterday on Fox 8 that most people mentally checked out of work on December 15th. To that I say, thank you, Cleveland Browns. Thank you, Shedeur Sanders. Thank you, Kevin Stefanski and Andrew Berry. Thank you. Because there is no... You know what? I got to even say, because they've been terrible lately, thank you to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Because you have had to make us keep ourselves sharp since December 15th. You know that, Tone? We couldn't check out mentally.
No,
it might sound like we've checked out mentally because you disagree with what we said, but we have not checked out mentally. You have to keep with it, and we thank you very much for being with us. Because a lot of people are saying, like, today might be their last day at work. And it's like, today is like a day you take a knee.
Oh, yeah, there's going to be a lot of that going on for sure.
Kind of take the headset off, hand it off to the graduate assistant, and kind of do the victory formation.
By the way, we will be on the air next Monday.
Yes, we will.
And the following Monday.
I forgot to tell everybody that. You are right about that. Yes, so we will be on the air the next 2 Mondays. So while we wish you all a very Merry Christmas, we will be on the air on Monday after the Steelers game. It will hopefully not be a bleep show. But, I mean, if they win, it's going to be weird. And I'm going to be very excited. Probably a little hungover. Probably a little bit. But, you know, we'll see it. We'll get through it. We'll do it well. But I want to ask you this question. Does it have to look good for Myles Garrett? Because I thought about this when I was talking to you guys about it earlier. Very rarely do we have any history that we really, truly care about. This is something I think we actually do kind of care about. I think we do really care about it. But I also want it to look good while it happens, because you and I discussed it a little bit yesterday. There were plenty of people going, thank God, that whatever Josh Allen situation where he gave himself up, thank God that wasn't the sack that put him over the top, because I think a lot of people have a vision of what a sack should look like, and that's just not a sack. I go back to the Michael Strahan one with Brett Favre. I think Mark Gastineau was right to be upset with him. And I even thought about something else. Remember the first time when or really it was the second time I think, when Mark McGwire was chasing Roger Maris, and ESPN's doing cut-ins of the lead up to it, and all these home runs by Mark McGwire are these huge, towering moonshots. And then and I understand he's pressing, but I didn't know that when I was a kid. He's pressing at the time. He just wants to get one over. It's a big night game. Roger Maris's family is there. And he lines one, basically a line drive home run. Looked like a pitcher home run. And I'm like, man, it doesn't necessarily look good. You want to make sure if he gets a sack on Sunday against Aaron Rodgers, like he gets a sack against Aaron Rodgers, it's got to look good. I think there's pressure on it to be a real sack. Like he's got to go up to him and like do the hip swing thing and then wrap him around and whip him to the ground, things like that. Completely envelop him, like anything that looks like a sack. He's got to be able to do it.
Yeah, it can't be last week. It can't be that where he doesn't touch the quarterback and he gets credit.
Now, would Aaron Rodgers, to stick it to somebody, would he give himself up on a play?
Yeah, that's what I wondered about.
Or would he give himself up on a play going, you know what, I am way too old for this bleep. We're going to the playoffs. Good night.
Because the report was last week, I think during the broadcast, somehow this got in there, that the Steelers had been instructed that under no circumstances can you take a sack against Myles Garrett.
Yeah.
So it's on their mind. Like I said, I still want to see who's even playing for Pittsburgh this week if Baltimore loses beforehand and they got everything wrapped up. But it has to be a real sack. I totally agree with you. And furthermore, it has to be this week. It has to be this Sunday.
Well, because it's at home?
No, because it can't happen with they added a game to the schedule.
Yeah, fine. Yeah, I forgot about that.
Even though
there'll be an asterisk. You're right. There's a lot of pressure now.
So you can get in the weeds on this. So people have brought up the amount of actual opportunities, because now they break all this stuff down, that Myles, if you look at the actual dropbacks, most teams are beating the Browns in the fourth quarter. So what is Miles not getting an opportunity?
I think Siciliano said something like 200 less dropbacks.
Yes, that's what I mean.
For Myles Garrett to get to the sack record than T.J. Watt.
That's a number that should matter, but unfortunately, it's not a number anybody even knows. So nobody's going to care.
Only pay attention to the
But real football guys, who break down that kind of stuff, it won't matter that it's in week 18 and 17 games because they'll be like, well, but if it's the same amount of dropbacks, and who cares how many games it is? But the average fan's not going to care about that.
Exactly. You're right about that. Because if you and I were in Philadelphia and we were going, well, Miles is the best ever to do it, and he had the best season ever, and this is why, X, Y, and Z, people might think a little bit more about it, but I think it might just be sports talk fodder. But since we're in Cleveland, they're going, no, you're just saying things to cope with it, and that's what it is. Like, there will be an asterisk if he's not able to do it on Sunday. I have to ask, and I gave you a little bit of an answer, but I still don't think it was a great answer. It's an explanation, and I don't want to make an excuse out of it. We can't move Miles around. If we're just trying to set sack records here, and that's it, I know we're trying to play some defense. We can't move Miles around. Like, he was just on one side of the football last week, and it was pretty easy. And I think that there might be some reasons because there's other guys coming in. You're playing with some back end of the roster guys because of injuries. Okay, that's fine. But I also think that if you just leave him in one spot, you kind of take him out of the game as well. If you line him up in, like, he's gotten sacks from a 5 technique. He's gotten sacks. He's put pressure right through the A gap as a middle linebacker. That hybrid spot that he's kind of goofing around with and having fun with. On the other side, like, I think there's so many things that you can do, and I think it's important to set the sack record with him. I think that they find it's important to win, but I think you can thread the needle and still, like, hey, if you get a sack, you should have a better chance to win regardless. Like, there should be some movement around with him on the defensive line. We haven't seen any.
Yeah, maybe they'll ask Jim Schwartz about that this week because it's been I wouldn't even say game to game. It's been like month to month when they're going to move him around. So I'm sure there's a method to the madness. I'd be curious to hear from the defensive coordinator what exactly that is, because obviously they were getting gashed on the run early in that game. But then, I don't know, it seemed like, did they make adjustments? Second half, it was a totally different ballgame. Josh Allen, like, I know there were some key deep drops and one in the end zone.
Yeah.
But Josh Allen looked like a different player in the second half. And that entire team looked like a different offense. It looked like our defense really clamped them down.
I think they really just wanted to try to run the football, and that was about it. Because he had that injury there that happened when they were trying to get the ball out of the end zone. It seemed that Sean McDermott was annoyed. It seemed that he was annoyed, Josh Allen, and they kind of just wanted to run that football.
Yeah.
And
so you put it more on Buffalo than you did the Browns.
No, because I didn't think that Buffalo could have just beat the brakes off us at any time. Like the Bears game, it was 14-0. We kicked the field goal and made it 14-3. I think it was Kevin Kugler who was trying to be like, and it's like, no, they're not coming back. This is not happening today.
That didn't seem competitive, but the Buffalo game was competitive.
Buffalo game felt competitive, and I felt better about it than I have the other ones. I'm like, well, they might be, if they can make a stop here, like this one, we might be able to snatch this one away from them. You missed a field goal there at the beginning of at the end of the first half. There were some other things that you could have done differently there, but it was a competitive football game. So there was no fire and brimstone for me yesterday about it. But I think that we're in a weird spot where you want to be competitive, you want to play good team football, you want to play good team defense, but you also have fans that are there specifically to see Miles break the streak. And you're kind of in a position where you need to put him in a position to break the streak. And I still think that your defense is better where offensive linemen are looking around, especially with the not greatest offensive line that the Pittsburgh Steelers have ever had, and looking for 95 and adjusting accordingly to 95. And that might mean that you leave a back door open somewhere. Aaron Rodgers knows what he's doing, so he might be able to find that back door. But I just still think you're a better defense with him moving around like you've been this last year.
I do too. So, but either way, I think we're all kind of gearing up for it. We're all watching, and I think I was surprised to hear the amount of Browns fans that were in agreement with us. I expected just the Homer Browns fans to be like, oh, by any means necessary. No, from what I've seen, fans are like, needs to be a real sack. Needs to be a sack. Needs to be this week. And how fitting would it be against the Pittsburgh Steelers of all teams to be able to do it at home? The arguments you've had against T.J. Watt. What a golden opportunity for Miles to get that sack and just continue to cement his legacy.
It counts, and it will count, but I also believe that, hey, I want to see it look good when it happens, because I just don't. I'm ready for the argument for whatever it might be, and I want it to look good when it goes down. Jerry and Madison, you're next up on the Fan. Hello.
What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Hey, I just thought of this, and I just wanted to share that last year, Saquon Barkley had 2,004 yards on Week 17, and he did not play Week 18. Now, I know they said they were going to save him for the playoffs, but again, that's the same situation as the Myles Garrett thing. What's the difference? I know we're not going to the playoffs, but Pittsburgh might, play somebody next week, whatever. But again, that last season really matters. There's a lot of talk on all the football stations about Saquon Barkley not playing and going for the record.
Well, wait, now hold on here. So what's the point here of what it is? What are you saying here, Jerry? I'm sorry.
Well, you were talking about how people don't really care. The average fan doesn't really care if he gets the record in 17 or 18. I'm saying it did matter last
Oh no,
year.
I think the average fan does care. I think these are records we love to argue, and we love to find any little thing to have an argument there. And I do believe that it should probably, if they can do it, if he can do it in 16 games, I think that's what matters. I think that Sunday's a big day for him.
Yeah, I agree. Good luck to him, right?
Yeah, of course, because it's, I think, one of the few things we have to look forward to as Browns fans.
You could just hear it, like in everybody's voice over the last 2 weeks. The fact that it's coming on a 3-win team has actually proved to be pretty detrimental, even though it's actually more impressive. What he's doing is more impressive considering he does not have the attempts, the rushing attempts. If the Browns were up double digits, or 2 scores or whatever, he'd have endless opportunities to get more sacks. But you can just kind of sense it from fans. They're like, awesome, and that's it. Because it's on a team that sucks. There is a huge difference here. We can't deny that there is a huge... It's not Miles' fault. Like I said, it's actually been harder to do what he's doing on this team. But think about how magical this would feel like if he was getting big sacks in the fourth quarter and setting that record against good teams down the stretch and cementing the Browns' spot in the playoffs. And unfortunately, he's just not being given that opportunity, and it's kind of a sideshow.
Draymond Green stalked off the floor last night. We'll tell you why coming up at about last night at 7:45. More childish behavior and majoring in the minor in downtown Cleveland. That's coming up in 5 on The Fan.
XTENDAV.com. Extend Technologies, where you...
28-27. Brock Purdy passed for a career-high 5 touchdowns. 49ers now 11-4. Niners won 5 straight, a game out of first in the NFC West, with the Colts losing. Buffalo, Jacksonville, and the LA Chargers all clinch playoff spots in the AFC. Don't miss the Kevin Stefanski Show, 7 o'clock tonight, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
I think Notre Dame's getting strong-armed into a conference. More on that coming up in moments. We majoring in the words of Daryl Ryder. Can I steal something from Daryl, even though he's going to join us at 9 o'clock? We majoring in the minor in downtown Cleveland. This drew your ire, and you're a garage guy.
I am a big garage guy. Been that for years.
Well, I'm not necessarily a garage guy.
Well, especially in one particular garage.
Yeah, I don't like this garage. The story is out now. The meters have changed.
And
in
the
downtown
ceiling's
Cleveland.
crumbling like a kind bar.
I would say it's more of a nature valley.
Yeah,
I would say it's starting to look more like that.
Ken needs an umbrella when he walks in there.
Yeah, people are like, "Why don't you just park in the garage?" I go, "Nope." I go, "Why?" I go, "I'm afraid it's going to fall in on me." No, I don't even like running. I don't even like walking under it. I don't like it.
Yet I just take the chance.
Yeah. I go, no. I look at the concrete and I go, no,
Why
thank
I park
you.
on the top floor. Then I don't have to worry about it.
You just ride it all the way down. There you
right
go.
off that thing and go home.
Anywho, I mean, it was good enough in a movie to throw cars out of it.
That's right.
It is true.
So, maybe I'm a little bit too judgmental.
It's a major motion picture.
Yeah, maybe I'm a little too judgmental. But the meters have changed in downtown Cleveland, where they've taken away the meters, and now everything is basically, at least in our region. I don't know if there's meters elsewhere in downtown. I'm sure there may be. But the meters are going away, that you basically park with an app. And my issue with it is that I think we're doing a little bit too much right now, where you have cameras out. Apparently now we're going to be getting cameras again. This whole debate is raging again, where city council might have found a loophole here. Owen Tone.
Yeah, Owen has the story now. This story was from a few weeks back, but apparently it has now been put into motion.
There was proposals back around right before Thanksgiving. Apparently all those proposals have passed because we saw a Cleveland.com article from last night. But this is the reports from right around Thanksgiving time that appear to now be taking effect on January 1st. If I hit the button.
It's okay.
Right.
The city says illegal parking, especially downtown, is creating safety issues and slowing traffic. And now, new cameras could soon be watching for it.
But the goal of the camera enforcement system is for illegal parking activity. And so think about double parking in crosswalks, blocking intersections.
The city says they can use cameras, even with Cleveland's current camera ban, because that ban only applies to moving violations like speeding and red light enforcement.
For non-moving violations, again, like illegal parking, double parking in crosswalks, etc., we're able to enforce that using cameras and using a mail ticket system.
And the changes don't stop there. Starting as soon as January of next year, enforcement in downtown and Ohio City would expand to 7 days a week from 7 a.m. to 10 p.m.
That's the
and
lead.
Parking
They
rates
buried the
will
lead.
rise. A $1.50 base rate with higher prices for the third and fourth hour.
That third hour will be at $3 per hour, the fourth hour at $4.50 per hour.
The city is also proposing to raise parking tickets from $50 to $60.
Yeah, the whole second part of that is the key. They're raising parking meter rates, extending enforcement into nights and weekends. That's the big deal here.
But no, I think, okay, I agree with you. That's a big deal. But they've always done that, and there's been times where any of us have parked on the street and forgot to hit our meter at the right time or forgot to pay the Park Mobile app at the right time.
Oh, yeah.
But there was a meter made that had to come down and enforce that. Well, now the cameras just go.
Yeah, they'll just get you with that.
got
Big
you.
Brother's just watching through the camera. That's
7
another thing
a.m.
there. Because
we got you.
You could kind of try to say, oh, you know what? I'm just going to say it. I could have a conversation with the meter maid and be like, oh, and I could develop a relationship with the meter maid.
Ken had a nice rapport.
I would have a nice rapport with the meter maid. I ain't gonna lie. I mean, I got no reason to say that, not tell you the truth now.
This is where Ken's man of the people is for real.
Thank you very much. Because, well, no, I'm not going to stand there like I'm George Brett yelling about a $25 ticket. It is ridiculous.
Well, now it's $60.
I have done it before, way back in the day, and I'm ashamed to admit it. But you're always going to catch more flies with honey. So I decided, what the hell? Let's have a conversation here. Let's see this. Now, I'm not asking you to just let me park for free on the street, but yeah, you know I'm going to be out in 5 minutes. Let's go ahead and take care of this. But now, if it's and I understand, I think I know what their end game is. They just don't want people parking on the street because they want to make it more pedestrian friendly. And that's fine if I trusted you to actually do all this.
Well, did they
Because I really don't trust them to do any of this.
Did they confer with any business owners downtown, because, especially in the hospitality world, because it's not fine with them?
Master General.
They are irate about this.
And that's where the camera is going to hit you now, too. The guys making deliveries to any of the restaurants downtown or any of the shops that are just getting there. Right now, there's a restaurant in this building, right? Those trucks have to stop because there's nowhere to park for a big truck right now. So they stop, they unload, they get the truck out of there. Well, now that's a double parking thing, and now that's a fine. And it goes right back to those companies which are going to go into the delivery fees, which are going to go into your plate when you buy your chicken.
This is ridiculous. I can't sweet talk a camera.
Yeah,
that's true.
I can sweet talk a meter maid.
All of these, we've already poked like 7 holes into this. To me, the one that I'm paying attention to the most is the nights and weekends.
Yes.
You know, when people go to restaurants.
Yes.
And people frequent these downtown businesses. And if you provide more and more barriers to people,
it just ain't going to come down.
They're just not going to come down.
Well,
they already think downtown is Sodom and Gomorrah. So now if you make it more expensive, what do you think's going to happen?
We're going to have that conversation in 2 days at my house about Sodom and Gomorrah and being down here. But it's one of those things. People used to bitch. They're a bitch about coming down to games was the price of not only you're paying to get in, but your concessions. But then they would throw in that parking as well. And I could always go, if you drive around and know where to go, there are streets that you can just park. Well, that's a thing of the past.
$4.50 an hour in that fourth hour.
Right.
Like
so if you're going...
How long's the Playoff Square show?
Probably by the time you get in.
3.5 hours? 3 hours?
Yeah, 3.5 hours.
By the time you get out, especially if you go to dinner.
And you're going to go to dinner. So you're going to be downtown. I'm not a big play-going fella. I went to a Christmas Carol last year, which was fun. Natalie Herbeck was in it. And we were downtown probably 4 or 5 hours. 4.50.
Easy, yeah.
So I think it's better for the parking garages because I would just say to hell with it, I'm going to park in a garage.
Right.
Like,
yeah,
what's
but
the point?
their rates on premium nights when there are big events going on, they jack that up big time too.
And so do I sound like a country rube if I say this and I start to go this? I go, wait a minute, you bent over backwards to come up with the deal for the stadium over there. And now you guys are going to start this planning on something that I still don't believe you're actually going to do, because we've been drawing things on paper in the city for over 100 years that haven't come to fruition. But I don't believe you're going to be able to do that. And then you're going to also price gouge on parking in downtown. Is that also what I'm to understand here?
Yeah, look, is
that a reasonable thing to say? To wonder if you're just a general citizen?
I just was in Chicago, and they have a far more sophisticated method, and they've had it for like 12 years, 15 years, about how to take care of the parking situation there. And they have much more streamlined public transportation that is just a lot more effective than what it is here. So you have your options in Chicago. And then, oh, by the way, you've got shopping, you've got retail. They don't have any of that here. So what are the incentives to come downtown outside of go to a game?
It will stop it, and we saw it especially after COVID. Remember, everybody just came and parked on the street, and you saw cars that were never on the streets before down on the streets because there was no enforcement at that time.
And you had to guard against that, too. You couldn't have cars camp out for weeks at a time.
There are residents that were camping out, right? Yeah. And that's probably something that you want to keep away from.
I understand you can't do that, but $4.50 an hour for. And it seems to be ridiculous.
Yeah, so if you're a part-time downtown employee, right? There are several that are in the hospitality industry that are down here 2 nights a week, right? 3 nights a week. They're getting on the weekend. They're coming down and working at the restaurants.
And they knew how to park for free.
Right. And they're not, and that's part of the reason that they can do that. Well, now they're going to be paying,
that's gone.
$20-$30 a night for parking
So
if they're
paying
going to
to
a garage. Right.
You just major in the minor. Okay.
So this show, we are firmly against it.
Yeah.
If you are a
hell
downtown, not even if you're a downtown resident, if you are a downtown frequenter, you're going to see it in everything else you do, not just the parking. It's going to hit you when you go dine. It's going to hit you when you go to an event. Those things, those charges are going to be back paid somehow.
Well, wonderful.
They did not ask our opinion on any of this. I want to know who they outsource this to.
Are there going to be other meetings to raise hell to try to overturn this? Because it seems like they're taking advantage of a loophole. Are these cameras going to provide security over break-ins and things like that?
You got 8 days and 2 holidays in between to get it done.
So that's fair. Kenny, you're right. Like, if it was more secure,
the
if your cars weren't getting broken into, then you would put up with the expense. But we know that's not going to happen.
And part of it, I've come to understand, like, hey, you're in a major city.
Yeah, there's going to be some
summertime
issues.
Happens, and every summer it happens in Chicago, it happens in New York, it happens everywhere. That there's going to be a rash of, there were some people parking at the White Sox game, and this is what happened. There's people who park for the Guardians games, and that's what happens. Happened to my buddy Brian when we came up here in college. It happens. Don't condone it. Don't like it, but
every metropolitan
it's one of the
area in the
realities you live with. Okay, well, did you say anything about the cameras providing better security for these situations?
Yeah, I don't know if that was their focal point yesterday.
No, just going to make sure that I
nickel
got
and
it on
dime
time.
more of your residents to prevent them from actually wanting to come down.
Do I get a grace period there, or are you guys counting it down like it's the ball dropping on New Year's for me to have to pay a $50 or $60 fine?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that seems for Cleveland. That seems.
I'm in downtown every day.
You're right, though, Ken. I remember when I was parking on the street every day. It was $25, and that was not that long ago.
And this is what it is. I'll say this last thing. I know a lot of people in Portage County. I know a lot of people in Stark County. I know a lot of people in surrounding counties who will come downtown a handful of times a year. I'm downtown every day. It's just part of the reality you live with. But if you know those people, it's just going to be another story they see on the news and go, that's why they're not coming downtown. That's why
they'll
I don't
hang out in their strip malls. They will hang out in the suburbs. They'll be just fine.
We'll fight them on the beaches. We'll fight them. Coming up at 8 o'clock, John Grucko going to join us on the show. Can I tell you how Notre Dame, I think, is being strong-armed into a conference? The USC thing. Can I just say this real quickly? Mm-hmm. If Notre Dame was in a conference, or I know that Keyshawn Johnson was saying, if you are, just admit you're afraid to play Notre Dame. And I'm going, well, no, they're in a tougher conference now. Before they were in the Pac-12, you could have that game scheduled, and that still really wouldn't hurt you because you were just going to make up for it and have one-loss seasons if you lost to Notre Dame when you had Reggie Bush and everybody else. Now you're in a tough conference, and now there's no divisions to secure you. Like if you were in the old Big Ten West, USC would probably run the old Big Ten West. But now that they're in a conference, and you're probably going to be playing more games in conference, what's the point of scheduling Notre Dame if it's all it's going to do is really deter you?
And I think
making it later on.
I think Notre Dame needed the USC rivalry much more than the USC needed
exactly.
it.
And if you're the Big Ten, you go, okay, join the conference. We'll make sure that your rivalry with USC is a protected rivalry here, and then you don't have to worry about all the other things. And you'll be in the Big Ten, one of the two big leagues, and we'll make sure you get into the playoffs because you're Notre Dame.
No, I know they have the Purdue, the built-in matchup with Purdue, but that gets them nothing anymore. I know that's a tradition thing.
If you were thinking about protected rivalries in Notre Dame, I like Notre Dame. We've been down this road a billion times. It's USC,
Service Academy,
it's Navy, it's Stanford. And Stanford and Navy, keep those ones.
But none of that helps them come playoff time. And they were just on the outside looking in. And I think they've got to regroup and start to think about their priorities, because for years all I've heard is we don't need a conference. Now they do. Notre Dame needs a conference, and now their relationships with the ACC not good. Like they need to just, I hate to say it, Kenny, like they just need to admit their stubbornness and get in with the Big Ten at this point.
Well, there's a history and a pride there with their independence, and I can understand that to a degree, but the world's
how'd that
changing.
work out for him this year?
The world's changing. I mean, the only other independent team now, Navy and Army, they used to be independent. They've joined a conference. I think it's very hard for a Service Academy to join a conference, but they've made it work, and they've been fairly successful in doing so. The only other one is Connecticut. Who takes Connecticut football really seriously? Nobody. You're Notre Dame. And I know that there's the fun of independence, but there's also the trouble with scheduling. And there's also trying to make sure that you find yourself in an advantageous position, because I think in so many ways you're being strong-armed by the Big Ten and the SEC, and if you can't beat them and you're not in a position to beat them because you're not in the playoff, join them. Because if you were still a 2-loss football team and you were in a conference, I think you'd be in the playoff.
And I'm an Ohio State
You're
fan.
in the Big Ten or the SEC, I
don't
should say.
want some easy schedule now. I'm like, we have all the advantages. Let's play some fun games. That's where I'm at, and we'll be able to prove ourselves. Doesn't Notre Dame? Don't you want that? Don't you want to play Ohio State, Michigan, USC?
I mean, you'll have your Maryland.
Do you want to play Boston College?
You'll have your Purdue eventually. You'll have those things, but you could always have that protected rivalry with USC, and we could. Is it a golden shillelagh or something like that? Is what they call it? I forget. We can have our golden shillelagh all day long every year.
Is it the golden shillelagh?
I thought it was something like the golden shillelagh. It doesn't sound right, does it?
It sounded amazing. I want as many golden shillelaghs as I can get this holiday season.
What is it called, Owen?
It says they play for a jeweled shillelagh.
Jeweled shillelagh.
I thought it was Timothy Chalamet. I didn't know what they were playing
Coming
for.
up at 8 o'clock, John Greco going to join us on the show. Up next, Draymond Green stalked off the floor last night. Cavaliers got themselves a win last night. And by the way, later on in the show was Joel Klatt right. Ken Carman, Anthony Lima. Take us with you to work on the free Odyssey app. Classic shit.
much can happen around the globe that we never hear of.
Embarrassing. We got to be better on defense.
It won't matter till April. And I think we know that. Y'all gonna write us off. We could go 82-0. No one would care.
He's a piece of crap. The kid, he sucks. He's sucked his whole career.
I got rumors about him. How he couldn't please his wife, and so now he's divorced.
Put a damn winning team on the field.
Now the Ken Carman Show with Anthony Lima give their thoughts on what you might have missed about last night.
Well, the Cavs beat the Hornets last night, 139-132. DeAndre Hunter seemed to come back to life. He scored 27 points off the bench, including 4 of 5 from 3. Hunter had this to say after moving to the bench and why it made sense to him.
I mean, just going off the results. I mean, it wasn't looking too great. Wasn't working too great. The numbers said it wasn't working great, so just try to look for a different, outcome.
He came into that game last night. I was like, oh, God, this guy doesn't want to be here. Like, this is a trade me game. And then he got hit in the chops.
And then everything changed.
And he had the greatest game of his career here as a Cleveland Cavalier. Good for him. We do need him. I'm open to just about anything right now. I'm in a very worrisome spot with this Cavs team. You're hearing the way that some guys talk after beating the Charlotte Hornets, and then you hear Donovan.
Yeah, Donovan.
And Donovan's like, no. And I'm going, I think something weird could happen here soon.
It was nice to see Darius had 2 huge games in a row. But let's face it, that was open gym last night. Wait till you see what you've got coming, because I know they played tonight against the Pelicans. Pelicans have won 5 in a row. Do we have
Is Zion going to play?
Do we have a status update for Zion?
Do you have a Zion status update?
I do not.
They're formidable when he plays. When he doesn't play, they're a joke. So look at their schedule coming up. They have the Knicks. They have Wemby. They have KD, and that very tough to match up against Houston Rockets team. Even Phoenix has been better than people thought this year, than Denver. Like, this is not going to be open gym night coming up. Mm-mm. Like, they're going to actually have to battle. They're going to have to play defense. I mean, they gave up 132 last night. They gave up 20-some threes.
Is Michael's camera on? Can they see Michael yet?
I don't know. That's not a no-one
Michael,
thing.
I've ever told you. Michael looks like a guy I used to buy drugs from back in the day.
Wow.
And then maybe someone I used to work with back in the day, but I'm not going to tell you what I used to do.
Congratulations on all your success.
Dude, man, look at you. You got that look on you. You look like you like anybody holding? Like that's the way you looking at me right now. That's how you look. I like it. Keep that dangerous eye on you. Continue.
All right, moving on. It's safe to say the Browns won't have to deal with DK Metcalf on Sunday against the Steelers. Metcalf was suspended 2 games yesterday for conduct detrimental to the NFL for initiating a physical confrontation with a fan during the win over the Lions on Sunday. Metcalf is appealing the suspension, but if it holds, it costs him over $500,000 in game checks the rest of the season. And get this, guys, it would void $45 million in future guarantees and potentially give the Steelers an out on his contract.
Do we know why it would void 45? I saw the report.
It's conduct
detrimental to the
team.
team.
If they didn't want him, they could either redo a contract or they could get rid of him.
I will say, that could be used. You got to be careful with that, because that could be used in a lot of instances, because guys are always doing things that are detrimental to the team.
Well, apparently the guy wants to go to court.
So he's denying that he used a racial slur, and we heard audio, and it sounds like he's saying, what is his God-given name? DK Metcalf. It's a different name. I haven't heard it.
Allen or something like that.
I thought he was calling him by his, what it would be on his taxes.
But I saw some people arguing, well, it kind of does sound like it could be a... I'm like, I don't know what to do with that information. You have a player that is alleging a slur was used, and even if there was a slur used, does that allow you...
Well, when was...
Did you make me say it so I'd say the slur?
He said...
What's the word?
But remember what DK Metcalf...
I can't say it.
Remember what DK Metcalf... You better not.
Zacharias
You remember what DK Metcalf had claimed, where he had complained about this guy last year too?
Yeah, same guy.
So did the guy say the slur last year, and all of a sudden he saw him again and was like, you know what? Like, what happened?
Well,
when
what
did
do we
happen?
do?
Because you cannot allow... You can't walk over there. Somebody should have stopped him.
Right.
But you can't
he
allow
shouldn't have gone over there.
You can't allow them to be hanging over the rails, yelling over guys. Because I can't imagine if it were Michael Markoch who were standing over there going, DK, I don't think he'd go over there. So that's why I believe right now, I kind of want to take DK Metcalf's word for it, that there was definitely something said last year that would make him walk right over there.
Either way, if I were Mike Tomlin, if I were any of these coaches, I'd say, guys, don't give power to any of these idiots. This is what they want. It's like what a troll wants you to do, as someone who might have played that role on the internet before. When somebody reacts to you, you know you have them. And, these are big games. So now he's suspended for what could be big games. We'll see if this game ends up mattering, actually.
Could it end up being a one-game suspension after the appeal?
Maybe, but then that's the Browns game. And, depending on what happens with Baltimore on Christmas night, all I'm saying is that if these fans know they can get to players, they're going to do whatever they can. Imagine in a playoff game, and let's say the Browns were good and the dog pound was viable, and you knew you could just get Metcalf thrown out of a game. You're going to do whatever it takes. So these guys have got to learn that the team is what matters more than vengeance against an idiot fan.
I don't want to
do whatever it takes. You just got to be smarter.
I don't want to be thrown out of the game forever. I don't want to be thrown out of a stadium forever.
You're talking about as a fan.
Yeah, as a fan, because you could just be
but who
banned
cares?
for life.
There's 70,000 fans. There's one player. I
would care. I would like to go to more Browns games.
Yeah, but you do. But maybe another fan will be like, "Hey, pay me $500 and I get to say whatever I want." And I can incite an emotional player to do something stupid.
So in your buddies
that would hurt his team. Game on. Sign me up. How many Browns fans would do that in a playoff setting? 1,000%.
I mean, if the guy's going to be that thin-skinned. There's certain words you can't say.
He might have said it.
But
who knows?
Go ahead and say them.
But it worked. It worked. 2-game suspension.
If you say that, but I don't know, because the audio of the guy's cell phone says...
I didn't hear it.
I didn't hear it. So that's why I wondered, did the guy say that word last year?
Well, maybe it worked.
And DK remembered him.
Last year.
Because it just seemed like DK had walked right over to him like, I remember this guy. I got a problem with this guy.
Mission accomplished. Fan wins.
I don't think you're seeing...
Because now people are calling DK Metcalf a liar because you didn't hear it.
You can't just get a guy and pay some local idiot $500. Yeah, I know. I say that in Lima. We'll say, watch me.
You wouldn't try to do that, Ken Carman? You wouldn't get under the skin? Young Ken Carman in his 20s
young
wouldn't
Ken
try
Carman
to get...
would not say that word, allegedly, at DK Metcalf.
It might not have
had
to be that word. It might not have.
But yes, I would try to get under people's skin. I mean, I did... I told you I did get into it with that pitching coach at the
I remember
Myrtle Beach Pelicans game years ago.
I think there are a lot of fans that would do whatever it takes to get under the skin of a Pittsburgh Steeler.
Never tell you that, Michael? I was at a Myrtle Beach Pelicans game years and years and years ago. They were playing the Lynchburg Hillcats. And this guy, his name was, I'm not going to say his name. I remember his name. He was their pitching coach. And I said, who opens up the beers for the manager on the bus? Because I know what they did on them buses. And that was the one that he came out and he yelled at me. And I started going, hey, why don't you worry about your pitcher getting blown up instead of drunks in the stands? I was drunk and I was willing to call myself a drunk. That was years ago, though. So, yeah, you know what, Lima? I'm not going to use those words. But when it comes to trying to get somebody going, line them up, guilty as charged.
He's an idiot for going over there. I mean, case closed. Whether it was said or not, he's the idiot for making the decision to go over there.
Shouldn't have went over there. All he had to do, is that it for about last night?
Yeah, that's it for about last night.
All he really had to do was just look at a security guard and go, get him out of here.
Yeah, it's that easy.
Really,
they do that at
you're
Cavs
the one
games.
who has the power.
They do that at Cavs games. I'll never forget Dwight Howard signaled over to somebody that I might have been watching a game with and said, out. And the security ran over and they took us out.
Vince Carter did it to a guy sitting in the studio. Right
so what's the smarter move? What's the smarter move? Reacting to the idiot, saying the thing to get you to react?
He sat down.
Just doing it from afar and getting him tossed?
Michael, he was from me to you, and he sat down and he stared at me like he was my the only other guy who stared at me like that was my dad. That was it. And I looked at the security guard. Lyman remembers this, and I go, is he going to have me thrown out of here? And the security guard goes, he might. And I was like, oh, God, no, please. I didn't say anything bad, sir. It's bad, man. I was 13 years old all over again. Seeing Vince Carter telling people it was over. A lot of respect and reverence for that man. Coming up next, a lot of respect and reverence for John Greco. I've went way over here, so I hope he'll be on by 8:02 on the Fan.
I wish we could throw people out for going over.
Northeast Factory Direct and NortheastFactoryDirect.com.
7 o'clock, right here on 92.3 The Fan. From the University Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
All the Browns and NFL news you may have missed at work. The Afternoon Drive. Weekdays starting at 2. 92.3 The Fan.
Coming up at 9 o'clock, the dangerous one, Daryl Ryder, will check in again with us. Talk to Daryl, the D-Ride, the dangerous one. Let's welcome in John Greco on the Fan Hotline. John, good morning to you. Has Shedeur done enough to start in 2026 for you?
Hey, guys, good morning. I said that I thought he did a couple weeks ago, and I'm going to maintain that opinion. And there's a reason why. I've been saying it the past several weeks on your show that I don't think that I've seen enough to where I think that they can put some pieces around him and he can be successful. And I think the Browns can win some games. Not some games, be competitive in this division. So, yeah, I think I have seen enough. I liked what he did with his legs against Buffalo, which, that wasn't really – I'm not saying he never ran in college, but he wasn't really known for that. And I liked seeing that as an extra weapon, and that's what makes Josh Allen so dangerous. And I'm not comparing the two guys, but if he can add that element to his game and continue to develop in the pocket as a pocket passer and learn the game and get the right people around him, I do think he can be successful. So, yeah, I do think so. And I don't want to – I just don't know if I'm ready to leverage the house and taking a flyer on a young quarterback without the right pieces around him. I just think that, teams have done that time in and time out, and I don't think it's sustainable. And I like some of the young quarterbacks in next year's draft, but I will kind of die on this hill that I don't know if any of them can elevate the current offensive situation. And I know they have a ton of draft capital and there's free agency, but, there's going to be guys leaving that room and you're adding, and, could it be a flip a switch and everything changes and it's all better? Maybe. I've seen that happen, but it hasn't happened here much. And outside of, when the Browns drafted Baker Mayfield, number 1 overall, I think things were different then. And there were, pieces and veterans around Baker that allowed him to be successful. And obviously, I don't want to dwell on the past too much, but getting back to the original question, yeah, I think Shedeur showed me enough that I think if the right people are around him and they continue to solidify the offense and build, that he can have success.
Now, is there a chance, you said you die on that hill, does that change if Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore go on a run here in the postseason against better competition, NFL talent, better coaching? If either one of them can pull that off, could that change things? Because the beauty of this expanded playoffs is you have more games to evaluate.
Yeah, Anthony, I don't know. I think it can strengthen the case and it definitely make the decision harder for whoever's making that the picks for the Browns. But for me, the sample size for those two guys that you just named is already there, and what you see is them both being dynamic. Obviously, I've seen Mendoza more than Dante Moore. I know they're both talented, but I think the body of work is already there, and I'll go in the same breath if all of a sudden one of those two guys comes out and throws 2 interceptions, is that going to automatically make them bad pros? In some people's minds, yes. So that's the thing. In the same when we're evaluating Shedeur, it's like, yes, it's been up and down. And there's been bad games, and there's been games where we're like, oh, okay, no, he looks like he's the real deal, and we can work with this. I just think that it's tough to, when you're looking through a nearsighted lens, and each game determines, oh, nope, he had a bad game, that's it. We can't do that. We have to draft somebody. Or this guy in college lights it up one game. Yep, he's our savior, absolutely. I just think it's hard to operate on emotions based off of one game. And to your point, Anthony, those guys can definitely help their stock and make a team fall in love with them, or if you're picking 1, 2 to 3, solidify the fact that yes, this is our guy, and we feel strongly. But if one of those guys comes out and doesn't look as stellar because some of these college quarterbacks don't get touched, and to your point, they are going to see some different caliber of talent rushing the passer. There's going to be more pressure. I want to see how they operate under pressure. So that might change a lot of people's perceptions and opinions. But for me, I'm excited about the expanded playoff. You get a better look at these guys, but their body of work's already there. And I think what we see is what we're going to get.
So what's the next step for Shedor's maturation process? Because, I look at this and I said, if you want to argue, it's because my issue has been with people who I think are basically afraid of quarterbacks. And I think that we need all these other things. Yeah, but you need a quarterback. So if you believe Shedor is your guy, then make the case for Shedor being your guy. And if you refuse to do that, then I think we're saying we're afraid of QBs, because I don't know anybody. If you don't think Shedor is your guy, okay, so we're going to go into next season with Shedor or Deshaun Watson. We're just going to be as mad as we were last year, if that's your belief. So what is the next step? If Shedor is your guy, which I could see that, what is the next step in his development?
Well, in his development, just continue to get him the reps. And, it's hard for me to sit there and say, hey, okay, yeah, let's execute this play, go through your reads, make this throw. This is what the defense has been giving us based off the film that we've seen. By tendencies, they're rotating safeties, they're rotating the coverage. So if that's not there, then look to your next read and deliver the ball. Oh, by the way, somebody's unblocked and hitting you in the back of the neck. Okay, so he's dealing with all of that. And I'm not naive. He's going to be dealing with that the rest of his career because, defenders are on scholarship too, and guys are going to get beat. But I just think that it's unrealistic right now because of we have, a revolving door at 4 out of the 5 offensive line positions. And some of the guys that are in there playing right now probably aren't going to be the starters next year. So I don't want to solely place the blame on the offensive line, or I'm not going to, nitpick different individual guys. But I just will go back to say I think it's hard for me to sit there and say Shedor absolutely is 100% the guy and he's got it, or say I know I've seen enough. We have to move on. I've seen enough to where I think if the situation is right around him that he could be successful. Is he going to be, the 10-year starting quarterback that's going to take us to, 4 divisional wins? I don't know. But it's hard to give anyone a fair assessment. So what I need to continue to see in his development is, at this point, get rid of the ball on time and, be confident in your throws, use his legs like he did last week. I thought that was, as we just talked about, a nice kind of weapon and to extend plays, and he's going to have to do that. But just try to limit the mistakes, take care of the football, be organized. Like what we saw with the whole wristband thing. As long as he can kind of eliminate the pre-snap penalties, get everybody organized. Continue to be more comfortable in whatever offense he's running, because that's what slows the game down, and the reps. You look at Phillip Rivers come out, the guy's 44 years old, and he's running that offense. He could do that in his sleep. Well, Shedor is still trying to process things. Things are new. He's seeing things for the first time. And then when you couple that with he's looking down the field and nobody's open, and then he's got defenders in his face, that time clock speeds up. So I want to see where he can continue to be confident, learn everything, be more comfortable. The game will slow down, and then his talent will speak for itself, which I think is there.
2 weeks ago, we looked at the offensive line, didn't think the offensive line was that good, and then PFF came out with the grades like, well, actually, it's better. You've seen this offensive line patchwork together. I know you like Joel. I'm not going to take this as a shot at Joel or anything. Don't do it that way. But you know what you're looking at, John. I want you to be the final decider. Is the offensive line good or bad? Is it better than what we give it credit for, or are we just trying to make excuses?
I don't think we're trying to make excuses. I think our eyes aren't lying to us out there. I mean, there are times where they're doing enough, and it's like, okay, yeah, they're given the situation and the guys that are in there, yeah, they're holding, sustaining blocks and holding on to their blocks. But then you look at times where it's like, defenders are beating them so quickly, and I don't want to say they look unorganized, but they're just lacking that chemistry, that cohesive unit. And we talked about it last week, and they said it on the broadcast. I think it's now 9 different combinations in there. And I said it earlier. It's like, I'm not going to just blame one guy there, but it is. And those guys aren't used to working next to each other when it's new people and guys getting their first action in the NFL, or players that probably, are backup role guys, swing guys that might be in there for a game or two because somebody's got a sore hamstring. But these guys are forced into there playing extended time, and we're seeing that, and we're seeing backups play across a lot of the positions. So it's hard for them to just have success with, you're used to playing next to a guy that you have for several years. A guy's, we talk about Wyatt Teller, who's had a terrific career, especially with the Browns. Missing him and obviously Jack Conklin because of injury, and there's new faces in there, new players for extended time. It's hard. I mean, and other teams are, can find a way to overcome it, it seems, but the Browns just haven't been able to because of the other, situations going on. Young quarterbacks, kind of no number one receiver. And, Harold Santa Jr., God love him, the guy's making plays, but that just seems like Shedor's one and only option right now, especially with Quinshon Judkins being hurt. It seems like he's not forcing him the ball, but that's his number one read, no matter who the number one read is in these passing routes. So the offensive line, are they good or are they bad? I don't think they're playing well enough, and they'd be the first to admit that. But the unit that's in there just isn't good enough right now to give Shedor 6 seconds to throw on every play and just move the line of scrimmage and displace it to where whatever Browns running back is in there can average over 4 yards. It's just not happening.
All right, as an offensive lineman, what did you think of Myles Garrett getting credit for half a sack without touching the quarterback last week as he's chasing this record? Anthony, I'm going to give you an answer that's, and I don't want to say it's politically correct, but I want to see Myles break the record. So I was like, okay, I think that was, I don't want to say gifted, but J.J. Watt, I think, said it, which, obviously, that guy wanted sacks, and he's going to be in tune to how those things are credited. And, Myles caused Josh Allen to kind of change directions and fall. And the other, Mason Graham, I think it was the actual guy that downed him. So J.J. Watt said something on TV at the broadcast that it sounded like that is how the NFL credits them. It's like, who caused the quarterback to give himself up, and that's why they credited it to Myles. But I was happy at this point that's the bright spot on the season, and I want to see him break the record, and he's got a couple of more opportunities to do so. So right, wrong, or indifferent, he got credited for half, and I want to see the guy break it. So I don't really care if there are ghosts, if they're not. I want to see him crush quarterbacks to get it. That way there's no gray area. But yeah, he's just one step closer, and I'm excited about it.
John Greco joining us on the Fan Hotline. John, we thank you very much for your time, my friend. All the very best to you and yours. Have a very Merry Christmas, friend.
Guys, Merry Christmas, and to everybody that's listening.
John Greco, live from Columbus, Ohio, on the Fan Hotline. Strong stuff from John. Daryl Ryder, more strong stuff from him. He's coming up at 9. Something weird happened at Shador's post-game press conference on Sunday, and I didn't realize it until I was listening yesterday afternoon. Ken Carman, Tone Master General on The Fan. Peter and Cup.
and drivers to join our Pro Bowl team. Have a career with competitive pay, great benefits, and the chance to make a difference in your community. A true touchdown for your future. Visit KimballCompanies.com/careers to apply today and get in the huddle with a winning team.
When you want the latest on the Browns, we're the station you turn to first. 92.3 The Fan is Cleveland's home for breaking sports news. Your teams, your station.
All right, as you know, Kenny, I'm an avid listener to our station and the fine job that the afternoon show does. I know we've accused them of being a clip show, but, you know, we play their clips too. We love.
No, there was another show that was a clip show that has nothing to do with anything in Cleveland, actually.
Well, I heard something yesterday, and I had missed this yesterday. I heard Zach Jackson reference it, but it was Zach kind of did it as a walk-off at the end of his podcast, which sometimes he does. And I heard him mention that there was a very odd situation in the Shedeur press conference after the game on Sunday. And nobody else had really talked about this. And then the afternoon show did like 10 minutes on it yesterday. So I had asked you, had you heard this? Because we had a lot of stuff going on Sunday. So I could understand if maybe you didn't hear every last second of every press conference. But I want you to listen to this, and then I'll explain what I heard on the afternoon show, and then we could talk about this, because this was a little bizarre for a post-game press conference.
So Shedeur, man, from HBCU to Power 5 now to the NFL, right? What has been the most helpful time during this NFL process? What has been most helpful to you during that process?
One second. It's late to the party, you know? You guys are questioning again.
That was the first question to the quarterback after an actual NFL football game. When
I didn't even think anything of it. I'm sorry.
Well, did you hear that?
I heard in the post game, but do we play the quarterback live?
We might have edited it out.
No. I don't think anything was edited.
Okay.
I just didn't. I don't know if I heard it live. Like Kevin's always live.
I can't confirm if he's live or not, because the order of operations has changed over the years. From back when I did post game show, it was always very quickly in there, and then we got into a point where, especially when players started to get a little looser with their language, we had to make sure that we were
the delay.
covered.
Yeah, you're right. I bet it's recorded just in case anybody cusses, because a coach usually doesn't cuss.
Right.
But players can get emotional and they might cuss.
And sometimes the official sites, and this isn't just a Cleveland Browns thing, they'll all edit press conferences to just get down to the nuts and bolts. And especially if there's any awkwardness or anything, sometimes that'll get edited out too. I'm not sure what happened here, but when I heard that on the afternoon show, I'm like, who's that reporter? I haven't heard that reporter all year. And then I reached out to some people, and they're like, no, he is that's new. Some of the veteran reporters here were like, we have no idea who that was. And then it's an odd question to kick off a Shedeur press conference.
That is a weird question to start a post-game.
Yeah, that's more. There's nothing wrong with that question as far as, hey, a reporter might be doing a feature on Shedeur and his HBCU roots. That's awesome, but that's a midweek thing. That's not the game just ended. We need your thoughts on what happened. We need your thoughts on down and distance situations, the 4th and 2, what you were seeing, your ability to take off and run. Like, that HBCU question
what
almost
happened to your pinky?
Yeah, the pinky, that's pretty important. Did it impact your throw? We're getting some weird HBCU question that could have been asked at any point, or he's probably addressed along the way.
Benefit of the doubt, maybe this guy's only in town for Sunday. Maybe. But that's not a first question. That's a minute 8 of the press conference question.
That's a, hey, I'm going to go up to the PR staff and say, hey, I'm doing this story.
I want to make sure I get it in.
Can you make sure?
Yeah, but when you get them one-on-one, though? When you try to get a hallway one-on-one?
Yeah, I don't know. After a game's a little different, though. You know?
And
if you're only in town for the day.
And some of these guys
That's an odd question.
They limit their one-on-one accessibility, because I've heard that some.
It's just you just lost to Josh Allen of the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah.
Like, I'd like to know about this game that happened 18 minutes ago.
What'd you say to Josh Allen, or what did he say to you after the game when you guys embraced? All of that is far more pertinent than a question about the HBCU, which could have been asked at any time. And it's not like Shedeur. does.
Well, I think the question was more about his journey, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Was it? It wasn't just about the HBCU.
It was
just about
starting
his journey.
there and then making it to Colorado, then now being in the NFL. Just the steps.
There's just 1,000 other
It was an odd question.
places.
He did.
Yeah.
It was an odd
Eventually
question.
answer
Yeah.
If you want to hear the answer,
go ahead.
Yeah.
For me, because a lot of different perspectives, it's a lot of different viewpoints and different aspects of life, and I feel like everything you got to go through, every moment you got to live through, and each of those are building blocks to help you throughout whatever situation you're in and help you be thankful also.
Well, has somebody taken over for Tom Withers as the question leader? Like he was, we made the Helen. We used to make the Helen Thomas reference because Helen Thomas always got the first question for years and years and years, and then it was like, well, Tom always gets the first question. Is there somebody who always gets the first question?
No, I don't know for the players. I don't know if it's different from the coach to the players.
Some of the players are kind of giving one-word answers at this time of the year. Yeah. So I know some reporters have been like, "I'm going to let somebody else ask if they're not going to dignify my question with an actual." We're trying to find things out. But even then, it goes
to the younger guys that are on the beat. It'd be like Spencer German would get the first question. Right, Ashley would get the first question.
Maybe Cam
They've
Justice.
been around for a little bit. Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Cam Justice.
Get on up there, ask that question.
Okay,
Greatest sketch ever.
I want you to go back to the start, though. Do you have the start of, because something else happened, and this is what Zach Jackson had alluded to, and I was like, did it really happen like this? So if you could play the question again.
So Shador, man, from HBCU to Power 5 now to the NFL, right? What has been the most helpful time during this NFL process? What has been most helpful to you during that process?
1 second. Late to the party, You guys are questioning again.
So obviously I reached out to some people that were there and I said, what happened? Why was he telling them to wait? And it was because his brother and whoever else is a part of his film crew, they were not actually videotaping yet. They weren't ready. And that's what he was referencing there.
So you're saying maybe this was more for a well-off media production?
It was 100%. For their media.
Well, why couldn't they ask
operation.
it at another? Why couldn't they just ask him aside?
Because they needed him at the podium, I'm guessing, for whatever show they're doing or for whatever
Why
access.
couldn't they just done that on Wednesday?
I don't know. That is kind of bizarre. That is definitely not how things work in the NFL. It led a bunch of people in my life asking, do you think that was a plant? Was that a question that they had already choreographed, and that kind of is what it sounded to me. I don't know what you guys think. I'm obviously just speculating. I don't know for sure. But for him to have to wait, like their other film crews, the affiliates are all getting the video.
Well,
Daryl Ryder's getting the video.
But if you're the one who's doing the press, I will say, if you're the one doing the press conference.
Why did he have to wait?
So is it, wait a minute, is it his media company?
Yes, that's what I was told.
Okay, so if I were him, I would wait on my media company to come in there, and then I would be very upset that my media company wasn't in there on time.
Maybe he is. At the same time,
if it were my business.
Imagine everybody else. They're like, we've been waiting for Shador. We wanted to hear about the game, and we're getting some puff piece question that could have been asked at any other time.
And Ken, you'll never have this, but your brother will never be the guy running your media company for you, right? Because you're an only child. Mm-hmm. So it's a little different when it's, whatever, junior producer you've hired to come in and do this for you, and it's your family who you've had come in and do this for you. If they don't hit their mark in time when the question's asked, then how do you give your answer correctly and then also be upset with them?
I'm supposed
to be eating dinner together on Thursday.
I don't want to say what I'm going to say, and then I'm going to get a bunch of nasty texts, but I'm not mad.
No, I don't think anybody...
It is a little peculiar, but if I were Shador, I'd probably be agitated that my media company... If your media company's credentialed to be in there, that's fine, but I'd be agitated my media company wasn't in there to start things off. What have you been doing?
It definitely is something that is not standard procedure at an NFL postgame with the starting quarterback. That is not something that anybody has ever really seen before.
Well, it's not, but I'm not in there.
Yeah.
Is there somebody who's supposed to be like Withers was, Tom, who's supposed to lead it off? Is that what happened? Because this is not the first time I think if you're saying that this was his company and they were trying to give him a question for their thing, this is certainly not the first time, and it won't be the last, no matter who's the quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, that something like that were to happen. Now, I agree, it's kind of weird for that to be the first question asked. It's kind of weird for it to be asked in a post-game press conference.
It didn't belong in this press conference at all.
It could have been done on a Wednesday or something like that, but if nobody's there to lead it, then what am I? I'm not mad at the situation. Should I be mad at the situation? What do you want from me as a reaction here?
Your reaction is your reaction. I imagine that people are putting up their hands to get the microphone, passed to them.
I didn't see it.
And this individual got the first question somehow over the veteran reporters.
How long was the overall? Wasn't it like 8 minutes?
Yeah,
How long was the overall? Okay, 8-9 minutes. Yeah. So I only listened to it on the radio until you call me to talk about what we're going to do on Monday. Mm-hmm. You did not call me during this, so no. I had it on as I was writing some things down and getting some things packed up and all the other things that I get ready for on a Monday. I got to tell you, Tone, I didn't even notice at the time. I didn't know that anybody might have been perturbed about it.
Yeah.
In the general writing meeting.
I know Zach had mentioned it, and then obviously I heard it on the afternoon show, and they were having a discussion, Jonathan and Nick.
What were Jonathan and Nick saying?
Nick said he thought it was bizarre. He said this was not a good,
it's out there.
Not a good look for Shedeur to have to hold up a press conference for his own production company to ask probably a scripted question. So that's not typically how things work in the NFL. That, unfortunately, I will say,
did he insist on that question being asked?
If some of the national people that don't like Shedeur got a hold of that, they would probably say this lends credence to why is a 5th round pick getting that kind of special treatment.
He's starting quarterback now. He's a starting quarterback. We got to get this.
But Josh Allen didn't have his production company stalling a press conference.
See, now we finally got to it because now I'm upset. Josh Allen doesn't have a production company. Shedeur does.
Yeah, but you wouldn't see this. You wouldn't see that. Did Tyler Shook's production company?
Now imagine.
By the way,
Tyler Shook doesn't have a production company.
Maybe he should. I just heard somebody say if they redrafted tomorrow, he would go number 2 overall in the draft.
Who said it?
Brian Baldinger.
Okay.
I've heard.
I can't just get somebody in there.
No.
All right. I know we got to get. Can I do this in 5 minutes?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because now I'm agitated here. All right. I'm agitated, and I'll speak to it coming up in 5 minutes on the Fan. Give me 5 minutes. And I'll tell you about it coming up on the Fan. Friends, Ken Carman here for
I'm with Jake Volnick. Weeknights at 7. Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
So, Sador, man, from HBCU to Power 5 now to the NFL, right? What has been the most helpful time during this NFL process? What has been most helpful to you during that process?
1 second. It's late to the party, you know? You guys are questioning again.
So this is I didn't care about any of this, and then you said something that got me going when you were like, well, what if one of the Shedeur haters nationally gets a hold of this, where apparently somebody from his media company, he waited on his media company to go in there, and then he started the press conference, and then somebody from the media company asked the first question. The question is kind of out of left field. For a post-game press conference, the question is out of left field. That's more of a midweek thing or even a one-on-one thing. But then you got me. You always find a way to get a reaction because I'm like, I'm not mad. What do you want from me? I'm not mad. I'm not really defensive of it. It is a little odd, but
you
I'm
called
going,
it strange because it is strange.
Well, it is strange that that's the first question asked after a post-game. It's strange, but it's his media company, and if Kenny Carman was the quarterback of the Cleveland Browns,
his production company is holding up a press conference. That's unprofessional.
And you
we can all admit that.
You would wait, and you would admit that it is, and you would say, "Where have you guys been?" If you were him.
I was also texted that they cut off the press conference, and people didn't get some questions in, so they wasted time with this as well. So now that's going to anger the other media entities, both national and local.
Well, but then you brought up the other thing. You said, well, say it again with the Shedeur haters, because you used a term, and then I got the fire in my ass, so go ahead.
What's that? What do you mean?
You said, what if the Shedeur haters get a hold of this nationally?
The Jason Whitlocks
and what did you
of
say?
The world.
And what did you say?
That they're going to say this lends credence to him getting and wanting special treatment that other quarterbacks that have proven themselves did not get.
Can you use the 5th round pick term?
Oh, and that a 5th round pick would be getting that.
This is my
and statistically, he's played like a 5th round pick.
This is my problem with all this stuff. This is my problem with this.
Or an undrafted pick.
No, I feel like am I the only one, Owen? Are you with me on this, maybe? Am I the only one living in reality?
Let's see what you say before
I feel like I'm the only
tag
person.
myself, especially when Whitlock going to get a hold of
that
this.
chubby guy on the right is just scared to death. The other guy's keeping it 100% real, man.
I feel I'm the only person living in reality here. I know where he was drafted. He's a popular figure. He's a very well-known person. He owns his own production company. Can we stop acting like he's supposed to be seen and not heard because he's a 5th round pick? He's a popular figure. A lot of people want to know what he thinks, and he may wait. As long as he's a good teammate and gets the job done, you're just going to have to deal with it. Now, will he get the job done? I'm not sure. But I mean, my God. Yeah, he's a 5th round. Yeah, I know. And he's way more popular than any 5th round pick that's basically ever been out there. So
he's like a Tim Tebow.
I'm getting really so damn sick and tired. I'm getting
true.
so you want to think Tim Tebow is a little overdrafted? Probably a little bit. And if Tim Tebow owned Tim Tebow Media and waited on Tim Tebow Media, would you have said boo to a goose?
People would have lost
just because he was a first round pick.
God,
just because he was a first round pick.
People
was it just because he was a first round pick? You would have said boo to a goose.
The Tim Tebow controversy.
So then lose your mind. You have a microphone in front of you. Lose your mind. Get mad. Lose your mind over it. Because I'm sick and tired of us not living in reality over this. I mean, some of you guys are just so damn bizarre.
Okay, 5 seconds ago, didn't care about this.
Because you made me care about it, because it's so damn bizarre. I mean, people who sit there and watch these football games and think that he's God's gift is amazing to me, considering he himself has said how many things he's got to get over. And on the other side of it, the people who keep saying, well, he's a 5th round pick, you shouldn't even be talking to him. What planet are we living on here? What planet are we living on that we just can't come to an agreement here that, yes, he's a very popular developmental quarterback and he may get the chance to start in 2026? Is that so effing hard for everybody to understand? Is that so hard? Is he's a major star? He leads the league in rookie sold jerseys.
What do we always say?
Not just any 5th round pick does it. I am so sick and tired of arguing about this.
This came up with Tim Tebow. What do we always say? That the play.
What do we always say?
That the play has to match.
And eventually
everything.
It will. Eventually it will.
He's
one
not
way
letting
or the
me
other.
say what we always say, which is the player has to match all of the other stuff, or it becomes uncomfortable for a lot of people involved. And so imagine if the Browns are sitting there too and they take Dante Moore, or they get one if they lose the last 2 games.
Then they'll just move on from him.
And they get Mendoza.
Then they'll just move on from him.
Will they have both? Will they be comfortable with both?
Well, probably it's the Browns, so they probably will try to find a way to be comfortable with both because it's the Cleveland Browns. But they would probably just move on from him. I mean, that's
and then
the scenario
where does
to
Deshaun Watson's comeback film crew? Where do they? I've
actually seen them filming before.
Will there be enough credentials to go around? Is the building big enough for everybody to come on in?
I don't know. I'm about to go dig a hole and sit in it.
I mean, between road tested and stadium lockup, it's a lot of cameras floating around the bowels for a 3-win football team.
Well, if you're going to win games, you got to entertain them somehow.
This really is Jerry Jones. We really have become the poor man's Dallas Cowboys.
I mean, I'm just so sick and tired of it. And I want him to be successful, clearly. He's quarterback for the Browns.
Imagine if they hired Dion as the head coach. Doesn't he have his own production team too, or is it the same?
I'm done.
Does he have to hire more guys?
I'm done. This is so stupid.
They were filming him in
and
his
not
booth
helpful to the
last
greater
2
good.
weeks.
I'm done. I don't care. He has his media company in there. He wants to wait on his media company. Fine. I'm not going to sit there. And if you want to get everybody together and bitch and moan about it, fine. I got other things to worry about. I don't care about what Jason Whitlock says or what anybody else says. I care about what a Browns fan thinks. Does a Browns fan care? Does a real Browns fan care? Does a real Browns fan care that any of us in the media were perturbed by it? The question was bizarre. The question was bizarre. But does a Browns fan, honestly, does a Browns fan give a bleep that you were sitting there having this conversation with somebody yesterday? Nobody cares.
I think a normal Browns fan would like him to not be statistically the worst quarterback in the NFL.
Then fine.
And then if he's going to be the worst,
then talk about that.
Well, is he going to be asked about it from his production company?
I can't help it that he might
Shador, what is it like to be the worst performing quarterback in the NFL right now? Hold on. We need the cameras to all get inside. Hold on. Are you guys filming? Did you white balance? Did you auto gain? Do you have it set up? Okay, can you ask it again?
God.
Shador, what is it like to be ranked 40th out of 40 quarterbacks this year statistically?
1 second. It's late to the party, you know? You guys are questioning the game. You guys again.
Ken knows that was a good one.
It was a good one. And I'm still mad at you because I don't want to be exasperated over this of all things. I mean, come on,
Shador,
guys.
talk about taking those last 2 sacks with the game on the line and having the drive go backwards.
I'm begging
1 second. It's late to the party, you know?
I didn't hear that one, so I'm not going to give you that credit.
You guys
I can't be. You guys don't care about this, do you? Tell me you don't give a
Shador,
bleep
talk about the fact that you said you could play better than all these quarterbacks in the NFL,
Tell
but
me
yet,
you don't care about
statistically,
this.
again, you're the worst quarterback in the NFL.
You don't care about
1
this.
second. It's late to the party, you know?
I mean, seriously.
You guys are questioning the game.
Even if you don't like Shador, do you care at all that Anthony Lima is on the phone with media people and maybe Lima's a little bit upset? Would you care if I was that annoyed?
They probably don't. They just want him to play better.
You really?
They probably want to make it unequivocal not to take Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza. They probably want the evaluation to be cut and dry. That's probably, Kenny, what they want.
Just judge it what it is.
But also, bad quarterbacks should be what?
Quiet? You want him to be quiet? You want him to not give a press conference?
You probably want him to not focus
He's
on...
He's starting quarterback of the Browns.
You probably want him to act like a starting quarterback who will answer all the questions. Now, by the way, why did he get mad again at a totally fair question that he called... He said the media was being divisive? Like, has he ever been... I know they banned reporters in Colorado when they didn't like the cut of their jib, but in Cleveland, the reporters are going to be here, Shador. So you don't get to ban them like your daddy did
Cleveland media
in Boulder, Colorado. You don't get to do that. We have like the friendliest media people in the country. Imagine if you were in Philadelphia, New York. In Philadelphia, they win Super Bowls, and then the next week they go after the coach. Like, imagine that. What was his response, Owen, this week?
Right decision. Go for it on 4th and 2.
I know you can't be asking me that question.
I'm just telling you.
Man. We can't see that's like the thing. Like, if we want to change the narrative, change the franchise, if we want to like help, we got to speak life. You can't. Those type of things is like separate us. Like a lot of the players like get these type of questions, and then we want to be working with y'all. We want to.
It's a 4th and 2 question that every player has been asked since the beginning of time.
When questions are asked to us players, and it's like you pinning stuff against each other. It's like, come on now. It's like a thing in the locker room. Like, You know, we're not going to be able to talk to him.
What is he talking about?
Can I speak now on my own show?
Because that separates the team.
What is he talking about?
Am I allowed to speak now on my own show?
In any situation, no matter how you answer.
Here you go.
And I'm just telling you the truth.
It's a 4th and 2 question, dude. It was the biggest play of the game.
Fans don't care. They don't care about your gripes. They don't care.
I don't care what the fans care about.
He either plays
I'm telling people what I care about. I think a guy can answer a question about 4th and 2 while he has his media company there. Why don't you, maybe they want to know what you thought of the 4th and 2. It's not dividing the team. If you can't handle a 4th and 2 question at the end of a season, then I don't know. Maybe you can't be the quarterback. Maybe you can't be the starting quarterback. This isn't Colorado where you got taken care of by everybody involved. That they made sure that only but I know where they get their cues from now because I know we do this in politics now. Only the right people are allowed to ask questions so we get the answers that we want. So we make sure to spread the propaganda that we want. Because we're not going to be banning reporters here in Cleveland, Shador. This isn't Colorado. Your dad doesn't get to control this.
Reckless speculation.
Oh, wait until they make his dad the coach.
Well, then he gets to control it.
There you go. I mean,
what was he this year? Was he 1-8 in conference? Did they have a worse record than the Cleveland Browns do?
Did you get it off your chest?
Anthony.
Did you get it off your chest?
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm just going to point out none of it matters and the fans don't care. I'm glad you got it off the chest.
Yeah, they're
they
a
don't
3-win football team. They like the quarterback play to be better.
That's the only thing that they care about. They do not care about the gripes of the media.
Maybe he'll answer some questions about that.
They do not care about your bitch fest about the media.
Maybe he can answer some questions about his poor play.
They do not care about that. They will ask him. They will ask him themselves. They do not care. I'm glad you were able to get it off your chest about what fans do not care about.
I'm just glad you didn't have an opinion 20 seconds ago, and now all of a sudden you're
you got me to have an opinion because you know how to push my buttons, and you push my buttons. And I'm just telling you right now, I know what fans care about. They don't give a damn about any of that unless he goes out and he really sucks.
That's a Ken Carman classic.
That's a nice reversal.
What's a nice reversal?
I'm glad you found an opinion on it.
What, you're the one who doesn't have opinions, or what are you saying? It's a nice reversal of what?
You started out last segment with, what do you want from me? I'm like, your opinion. That's all I wanted. I got it.
Because I did not have a problem with what was going on there, and I know that fans don't care. They don't care. They don't.
I'm saying some people do care. Some people are calling this kind of a circus.
Yeah, because it's the Browns. The Browns are a circus. If they were a 12-win football team and they were doing that, if things were reversed on that, you think that fans would care? You think fans would care about the bitch fest you're having right now?
Social media reactions brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Kenny, could you wait on that and repeat it? His production team just came in here. They just started filming.
All right, Daryl next on the Fan.
1 second.
Daryl,
late to the party, you know. You guys are questioning again.
Daryl's next on the Fan. Go ahead.
XTENDA.
Emergency Hospital Sports Desk, I'm Jeff Thomas.
Sign up to be a part of the fan club. Download the free Odyssey app and follow 92.3 The Fan to get all of the best audio and best stories sent straight to your inbox. 92.3thefan.com.
All right, Daryl's coming in here. This is going to be a lot more fun.
You mean Daryl, brought to you by Scheibin Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store?
I open up social media. Everybody agrees with Tone.
Bill, I can't believe that. Maybe it's just because they're just not playing well.
I don't know. Who knows? I don't even want to ask the question because I felt it was a waste of time us arguing about it. I feel it's a waste of time spending some of Daryl's time about it. If you want to go ahead and ask him, you go ahead and ask him. Fine. Go ahead.
Well, I imagine Daryl really didn't care all that much that they held up the Shador press conference and asked what seemed to be a scripted question to start it out. Daryl, what did you think when you were there after the Shador performance, in which, took a lot of what the defense gave him, but unfortunately when the game was on the line, things kind of went backwards, and then the reaction afterwards, what did you think?
Yeah, I mean, I was amused by it, that they had to restart the press conference so the film crew could get set up and in the room. But this is what the Browns have historically done over the years. Done
over the years. Do you hear that? Over the years, way before
Which
Shador.
is what?
Yeah.
Before Shador.
Wasn't there? What was that show? As soon as the Haslams bought the team, they did some
road test.
Talking about
road tested. Yeah.
Champions Pose.
Yeah, they've done Stadium Lockup. They've done other reality TV based type things, and so they embrace that culture, if you will.
Is this one going to be called Back in the Basement?
I don't know, but
wait a minute.
I saw a documentary called In the Basement.
Late to the party, You guys are questioning again.
Go ahead, Lima. Ask that question again.
No, is this going to be called Back to the Basement?
Yeah, I would say this, that I understand it, but that doesn't mean I have to like it. And I think the focus and attention needs to be elsewhere than doing documentaries. That's all I'm going to say. It's not like he's lighting the world on fire. It's not like he's a first-round pick, even though we're trying to evaluate him like he's a first-round pick. And I don't know. I just feel like you got to earn some privileges. And the Browns do a very good job of enabling their players. They enabled Baker Mayfield. That did not go well for them. They've enabled other players, and it's not gone well for them. Again, I understand it. I understand the modern world we live in, but I just kind of feel like that privileges should be earned. And I don't know, as much as I like Shador and as much talent as I believe that he has, I just don't know that Shador's earned the right to have a documentary crew.
So when does he get to earn
around.
it? When does Daryl Ryder come on the radio and go, okay, he earns it now?
When he starts winning games.
Okay, so that's not going to happen this year, which you have documented because he's got terrible players around him.
Yes.
So I have to wait. So we're going to do an off season. So when should he? When is he allowed to hold court as the guy who's the starting quarterback as of right now for the Cleveland Browns? I need to know if we're going to have these hard. If we're going to take everything, if we're going to take everything so literally, I need to know a rule now. I need the Daryl Ryder, Anthony Lima rule.
Wait. When you start winning games, you can do all the documentaries you want.
Because I'm getting pretty pissed off myself here because I'm not trying to make everybody happy here, but I can't find any common sense at all. I got people who are they clearly hate him or they hate his fans and they hate that that his fans hate them, and so they bitch my ear off. No, I get yelled at every day because I'm not. I know. No, Ken, you're covering up for this terrible quarterback. He has not played exceedingly well. I also don't think he was given much of a chance to play exceedingly well.
Right.
And I'm going, all I'm trying to do is be fair. I want to see whether or not he has a shot because I did find it a bit odd, and so did a lot of people across the country and really the entire world, that a guy who at one point we were talking about being a top 10 pick did fall to day 3. So I would like to see if there is any hope in there, considering we've tried everything there is for a quarterback, and I got people on the left of me over here yelling that I'm covering up for bad quarterback play, and I got people over the right over here who are yelling at me because I dare mention the name Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore, and I'm just going, guys, I'm just doing what I think an NFL franchise should do, and I'm getting killed for it on either side, and then I'm getting mad over you because we're talking about press conferences here.
Yeah.
Can we just understand that, yes, he is a developmental quarterback, and he's the most popular developmental quarterback that has ever been in the league.
Well,
Why is that so hard to admit?
He fits in well here because usually the most popular quarterback in Cleveland, or the most popular player on the team, is the backup quarterback. That's an unfortunate fact.
Well, I got to tell you, it seems that Dylan Gabriel is not a very popular figure right now.
I was saying that tongue in cheek. I had a feeling you were going to pull the Dylan Gabriel card.
No,
I'll just say this: I wish the Browns were more about football and winning.
Well, they're not.
Than the sideshows that tend to come, but they seem to embrace the sideshows more than they do.
Well, did you think that they were going to win?
No.
I guess they decided to embrace the sideshow to at least make it entertaining for everybody, because here we are.
Yeah.
We are in the middle of entertainment.
Yeah, well,
Yes,
they're trying to be the Dallas Cowboys, right? The Dallas Cowboys come with the sideshow, but the Dallas Cowboys also win, at least in the regular season, until they get to the playoffs. They win enough games to get to the playoffs, then they, fall apart there. But, yeah, I just think that the Browns organizationally need to alter the way they approach things. And it needs, you know what? You want to know when you can have fun? When you win. Winning is fun. Winning is fun. Someone should tell the Browns that's the fun. Winning, not film crews, not documentaries, not TV shows, not all this other stuff. Winning is the fun. That's what the Browns need to get to. And fans here have been waiting decades for that. And this ownership group needs to understand it's not uniforms, it's not helmets, it's not stadiums, it's winning. That is what's fun for your fans. That's what will get fans into the team shop to buy the jerseys and the merchandise, and won't have fans selling their tickets to opposing fans and having takeovers like we saw this past weekend. Like, winning, that's the fun. And I wish the Cleveland Browns organizationally would invest all their energy and all their focus. And they need to instill that in that locker room. That's what they need to do, because they don't. And that's part of the reason. There's literal accountability with the team. There's losing is acceptable, and it's accepted despite what they say. All I know is what I see. And what I see every week tells me they're fine with losing. And that's a problem.
Well, I don't mean to be difficult, but they didn't trade 3 first-round picks for Deshaun Watson just to lose. I mean, they did try to make a good, strong effort at winning. Boy, did it backfire. But I figured they figured, we know we're going to be bad. We might as well be entertaining and interesting. And they are both of those things. Sometimes I feel like we are ourselves majoring in the minor here, because in the grand scheme of things, I talked about a QB's wristband. I talked about a press conference now. Yep. What was the other thing we talked about 2 weeks ago? Something crazy happened 2 weeks ago. I mean, the most football we've gotten into is sometimes after these losses, right on Monday, and then special teams failures.
Yeah.
Not that. So.
Which is basically a weekly occurrence.
So, Myles Garrett chasing history. Now, I said at the start of the show, I felt like he really needs to get the record this week, and Ken kind of added to it and said, man, he kind of needs to be like a legitimate, get to a quarterback, take him down, do your celebration, to do it, or else it's going to come with a host of asterisks. How do you feel, Daryl? Do you think it matters how he gets there?
No, I don't disagree with that. It would be nice if it's a legit takedown. I do feel like that if he does it this week, it takes the asterisk talk away, the scrutiny that comes with it, because then you say, well, he had an extra game to break that record. So, and also too, they are playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, and that'd be a nice highlight to have against the Steelers, is Myles Garrett taking down Aaron Rodgers to set a new sack record. And look, hopefully he's able to do it a couple of times so that the record isn't in dispute, because that there's people that'll look at last Sunday and him getting credited with that half sack by the official score because he and Alex Wright were closest to Josh Allen when Allen gave himself up close to the goal line. So, I'd like it to be clean. I'd like it to be indisputable so we don't have these unnecessary debates about asterisks and Miles getting an extra game to be able to break that record.
Yeah, even though I did see the numbers, and I wanted to be clear, like he's actually had so many fewer opportunities because of the situation. Normally the Browns are losing at the end of games, running the football. So that should be noted. You and I just know that the casual fan's never going to cite that number. They're just going to say, how many games did it take?
Yeah, and I've seen the stats. It's incredible. It's not even close. It's by a couple hundred snaps. So the metrics are astonishing what he has been able to accomplish this year. And as you said, the Browns often are playing from behind, so teams don't have to throw the football against them late in games to beat them. And yet he has been able, and it's not just the sacks, Anthony, it's the pressures, it's the tackles for loss. He really, under Jim Schwartz, has taken his game to another level. I remember when Joe Woods was here, and we keep having those conversations about Miles becoming a better player and taking his game to the next level. And those conversations were had when Jim Schwartz was here, got hired here. And it's like, well, I don't know how this guy can get any better than he already is, because he's already one of the all-time greats, not only in franchise history but NFL history. And yet here we are, 3 years into the Jim Schwartz defense, and it seems every year under Schwartz, Miles seems to find another gear. I can't wait to see what he has in store next year.
Daryl Ryder, he joins us on the show. Owen, who's he brought to you by?
Oh, that's Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
Hey, Daryl, who calls the plays for the Browns?
It's supposed to be Tommy Reese, I thought.
Then why am I still getting a bunch of stuff yelling at Kevin Stefanski over the 4th and 2 call on Sunday?
Well, so how that works is Kevin makes the decision whether or not to go for it. Then it's up to Tommy Reese to call the play. Now,
so people want to punt?
Now, if Tommy Reese calls a play that Kevin doesn't like, then obviously as head coach, Kevin can overrule that and say, we're not going to do that, we're going to do this instead. But my understanding is Tommy Reese is calling the plays, and Kevin Stefanski just makes the game management decision. So for me, it's the criticism goes to Tommy Reese. And to that point, though, Ken, a couple of weeks ago when we had those 4th down situations, Tommy Reese spent half his Thursday press conference fielding questions about his 4th down play calls, and he wore it. He said, hey, I wish I would have called something different. It didn't work out. This is what I was thinking in that situation. So, yeah, I think that, obviously Kevin Stefanski is the target as the head coach, and because he called plays here for so long, fans just assume he's still doing it, and that's not the case.
Okay. Daryl, thank you very much for the time. Well,
you bet, guys. Happy holidays. Enjoy your time off.
Daryl, can I ask you one more question?
Yeah, sure.
Actually, I had this observation. I was listening to something else, and they were talking about the movie It's a Wonderful Life.
Mm-hmm.
And I had the observation that have you seen It's a Wonderful Life?
Yes, I've seen it multiple times.
Then I've been to places like Martini's, and I've been to places like Nick's, and I've had a better time at Nick's than Martini's. Do you agree?
I 100% agree with you.
Okay.
I'm team Ken Carman on that one.
Okay. Thank you very much for the time, Daryl. Take care.
Happy holidays, guys. Enjoy your time off.
Same to you. Thank you. Daryl Ryder.
He's brought to you by Scheiben Jewelers, Cleveland's premier jewelry store.
I thought that was a nice thing that we can end the interview on. Yes?
I'm unfamiliar with the...
You've never seen It's a Wonderful Life?
I've seen it. I don't remember the names or any of that.
Oh, well, then you haven't seen it that often.
I just remember they all fall into the pool.
Well, that's the pool that opens underneath the basketball court at the beginning of it.
Is that Nick's or Martini's?
No, the bar he goes into at the beginning when it's still Bedford Falls is Martini's. And then when he goes back after he never existed and his guardian angel Clarence takes him there, it's called Nick's, and it's like this dive bar now. And Martini is now, and he's just this mean, he's not mean, he's just surly.
But you're saying you prefer the dive bar?
Yes.
Okay, yeah.
Sorry, I thought we were on the same page there. I apologize. I didn't know you hadn't seen that movie in years.
It's been a while.
Okay. Never mind.
I went to a bar called The Same Page. None of us were there.
Go to hell. Go to hell. I hate this. God, do I hate this. Get Carman here. I don't hate this, guys. Friends, we'll back after this on the fan. You're killing me. You are absolutely... All right, can I share a theory when we come back about the ones who are saying we can't... We have too many other needs? Can I just poke a couple of holes here? In a fun spirit, please. Give me 5 minutes, and then I'll poke holes in 5 minutes on the fan. K&K Heating and Cooling. You're cold out there. Oh, my goodness. It's so cold out there. You can't see me putting on my hoodie, but I am because it's cold.
are going to go hand in hand, and then we'll see where this all goes. But I do think that he would get a lot of interest out there on the open market if he becomes a free agent.
Listen for Mary Kay Cabot from the Plain Dealer in Cleveland.com. Tuesday mornings at 11 on Cleveland's Sports Radio, 92.3 The Fan.
So let me poke a hole in a theory here. Before this thing goes back off the rails and I end up catatonic before the holiday starts. Which we will be back on Monday, by the way, and we plan on sitting. Are you still planning on sitting in the 537? I got to get the tickets. I got to get the ducats.
It's not looking good.
This is...
Wait, you're not going?
Then I don't want to hear you complain ever again about
looking
about
good
events.
at all.
I don't want to hear you complain ever again about events.
No,
I've never,
what happened,
ever
well,
again.
this one was kind of like
we don't get to do events. We don't get to do this. We don't get to do that.
This was like
free tickets. Fine, I'll just sit there with Pony and Muller myself.
Like kind of an unofficial event.
Are you doing this for show, or are you being serious?
No,
this is a show thing. Are you going or no?
If you guys want to come to a gym in Kinston,
so I'm going to be there alone.
7 a.m.
I'm going to be there alone.
And then I'll come with you after.
Fine. I'm going to sit. I will sit in the 537 alone. Fine. Hell with
weigh-ins at 7.
I don't need any of you guys. There? You know what? All I need is the fine Browns fans in section 537 because they know I'm a real one and they know you're fake. Anyway, I guess I will be sitting either with Pony and Muller or completely alone on Sunday in the 537 in the cold and rain. Maybe I'll take my son and I'll take him to actually his second game.
Take him to stadium lockup.
I will not take him to stadium lockup. I will be on good behavior. I'm in no position to lean over the railing because if I lean over that railing, it's a hell of a fall. So I'm not going to lean over any railings yelling at any players.
Those guys start swaying.
I got to be careful climbing the stairs there.
It gets steep.
Because I will get nervous if I look down. I will get nervous. As long as I'm sitting, I'll be okay. I hate you. You're really not going to come?
Well, the hard part is my sister's coming into town, and I can only choose certain things because I can't leave my wife with the kids for like 5 straight days.
I can't wait for the text from Keith. It's all you do. Complain about, we don't have events. We don't have events. We don't. I got you an event. Me, I can't come. Oh, okay. All right. I'll sit with our listeners alone. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'll have a good time.
Can we do one like September next year?
No.
When it's nice out?
No. That was the whole point of sitting in the 537 was when the weather was bad.
Last year, they didn't sell out any games this season. This year, they did not sell out any games this year. So, I mean, maybe they need some help for September to start the year.
So this is a perfect start because in September next year, I don't know who your quarterback's going to be. Looks like it could be very well Shedeur, but if you end up with the number 1 or 2 pick, it happen. There's a lot of folks who are saying, do you right now, let me go around the room to you two. And Mark Koch isn't listening, but if he was, he can click in. Do you believe that Andrew Berry is going to keep his job?
I know there have been reports to the contrary, but no, I think they're all getting bounced. I don't believe what I'm hearing right now.
Really?
Yeah, I think they're just
that changes my setup here then.
I don't have any inside intel, but I've never seen a GM keep their job after so many disasters.
Wait until you get a load of us. What do you think?
I 100% think he should not keep his job, but
That's
30% think he will keep his job.
So, okay. So, you really think he could end up getting bounced? I think he's going to stay.
I think it's a little more bounce than not bounce, but it's maybe 40%.
Well,
I think he's still got a chance to be here.
Well, Owen, you weren't here yesterday, so I forgive you because you got other things you got to worry about. I forgive you for not seeing
we had weigh-ins yesterday.
Did you see the Rappaport report over the weekend?
Yeah.
Okay, so that makes it sound like Andrew Berry's going to stay.
Yeah.
So I'm taking a long way around a short trip.
Real quick, does it matter if he's just in a different role?
No, he's still. I mean, he wants to pick players. He wants to be involved in the picking of players. So this is germane to what I'm saying here. Well, maybe I'm just going to share this. You guys, it's just a theory.
Yeah,
you know what?
ahead.
You can poke holes in it, and I don't think
Go
that
ahead.
this should be.
I want to hear it.
So if you believe that Andrew Berry is staying, but you're also one of the ones who say we have way more needs, which I agree we have a lot of needs, but you got to have a quarterback, or this thing is we're going to end up in the same stupid arguments going over some of the same stupid stuff that we've been bickering about here over the last couple of months. And you know it and I know it. So if either Shedor's the guy or Shedor ain't the guy, you better have a QB next year. You got to have somebody. You can't just add all these things because we've seen it. Well, the ones who say we can't take a quarter, because I think that people are just afraid. I'm calling them scaredy cats. If they're just afraid to take a QB and they say, well, this is the ultimate team game. All right, but if Andrew Berry stays, do you trust him to pick all these other players? Because just because you have 10 picks and you pick all these other positions doesn't mean that these guys are going to work out. And by the way, when we go the free agent route, we haven't done so great with free agents in so many ways either.
Well, I have to be honest about trusting. Like, he had a good draft class this year, no doubt. I think some guys are unfortunately limp into the finish.
He had a great draft class this year.
Yeah, there's no doubt he had a really good draft class. I don't trust him to manage the organization, which is different from just picking players. I don't trust everything, and that means... Yeah, you had an obvious deficiency at special teams this year that manifested itself almost in September.
Okay.
They let it linger all year. Bad management led to them losing a lot of games because of special teams. Either not telling your coach to fire, or you having the power to fire them, or going up to ownership, like whatever. The fact that their special teams was their special teams all year, while other teams that are competing for a Super Bowl just fired. One of them just fired their special teams coach, the Rams. They literally just fired their coach. What did that signal to everybody in the building? That losing's fine, constant mistakes are fine, lack of accountability is fine. And that's just one thing. The 4-quarterback setup is an all-time silly move. It robbed us of how many Shedor Sanders games? Like I said, I'm worried that we're not going to have any more evaluation of Shedor if we get the zombie Steelers this week and the zombie, even though the Bengals weren't good anyway, but the zombie Bengals in Week 18, like... Our official these games matter barometer is over. Like, that's it. We're already done. Well, we drafting Dylan Gabriel in the 3rd round, that cost us at least 4 games, maybe 5 games of Shedor, when we all agreed Shedor was better than Dylan Gabriel and as a draft prospect was better. So that was mismanaged. Having to deal with Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco, like the whole thing. One of them, fine, not both.
Well, you're making a case to just get rid of Barry then, as well. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an argument, but that doesn't...
And then the offensive line stuff.
But so you're making my case for me. If he stays, then the ones who say, well, we need all this, this, and this, are you going to get it? Like, you just because you draft an offensive lineman, like I made the joke yesterday and you agreed, yeah, KT Levinston's playing like a first-round pick. If I'm comparing him to Jed Wills, who was whose pick? Andrew Berry's pick. Do we need another running back again after Quinshon Judkins' terrible injury?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're going to draft one high. But...
Coach Lance, I hate to say it, you don't want to champion's pose over a terrible injury, but he said the way he plays leads to injuries. Now, I don't want to use that as a catalyst about running back. Yeah, that was a Coach Lance thing.
He specify why? I mean, I'll go.
You can go back and listen on the free Odyssey app to it, but he had specified certain reasons why he plays, and it opens him to more injuries than some other running backs out there. You had a great draft class, and for a lot of folks, I think that you would say
a stud, total stud.
And so for Browns fans, wouldn't you look at it and go, okay, we got one out of it. Well, let's get out while the getting's good.
And Mason Graham,
let's walk away from the table while we're up.
Mason Graham's just been inconsistent, but by and large, I think he's been really good.
He needs some more seasoning. You guys are going to continue to be frustrated because he's going to get trapped, and he got trapped big time on Sunday a couple of times. Because that's a good offensive line, and hopefully he learned himself a valuable lesson on Sunday, and I think he will. But I think that he's had a very nice rookie campaign. He's going to have to go back, get to work, get stronger, get smarter, and some of that stuff is just going to come from experience. So I have no problem with Mason Graham whatsoever. You've had a promising rookie class, but that doesn't mean after the first 5 of them you say, okay, that's going to work out. Because I got to ask, does the general Browns public trust Andrew Berry? I would say the predominant opinion is no. And if he stays, you don't trust him to draft a quarterback. Okay. That means all of a sudden you trust him to draft all these other positions? We've had a bad offensive line draft in the first round. We've had bad picks at wide receiver from Andrew Berry. So right now it doesn't compute. And so I think, again, that's the fear, is that it doesn't, I think a lot of people look at it, and if they think Andrew Berry's there, and I'm putting people's opinions out there that maybe they don't share. So I'm speaking for a lot of people there, and maybe it's not true. But I feel that so many people I talk to on the street, it's almost if I can't deal with another quarterback being messed up, I can deal with another offensive lineman being messed up. I can deal with, they don't trust it. And it's like, I can deal with that guy being messed up or that guy being messed up or that pick being messed up. I can't do another quarterback. And I feel that your patience is at its wit's end. I mean, you got this quarterback that nobody wants to see that you're paying $46 million next year. You got another quarterback that, I mean, we can't have a decent conversation about him some days because it gets bastardized and taken to the umpteenth degree so people can get their views on YouTube. I mean, and at the end of it, it's like, no, he's not through the woods yet. And so I think a lot of people are going, why is my time being wasted here? I want somebody I know. But then again, I think they feel that the Browns are just going to mess it up, and they don't want to put anybody through that, and they really don't want to put themselves through it again.
Yeah, but then the same thing would happen with Shedeur. Like if you don't draft a quarterback and Shedeur is your guy next year, he's going to still have the all-new offensive line, the rebuilt wide receiver room. We assume it would be better because how could it get worse? But what if they draft the wrong guy? I don't know.
I got people, by the way, saying that they're in Section 537 and they're saying LFG to me. All right. I'm down. At least I get to go. You can always count on me, Cleveland. Can't count on you. Ken Carman, Anthony, you being Lima. Ken Carman, Tone Master General. One you can count on, the other one you can't on the Fan. Classic, you can count on them. DriveClassic.com, 17.
after job, year after year. Performance that pays off. Because when the job calls for the best, you answer. And when you need the best, you call on Makita. Built to be the best. Available at the Home Depot. Whenever you need to talk about the Browns, we got you covered. We are Sports Radio 92.3 The Fan.
Well, I disagree with you on a lot of things, and everybody knows I'm a football guy, but I've agreed with you for 2 weeks about this. Coming up on Thursday, I'm going to be watching the Cavs and Knicks, and I'd much rather watch Wemby and the San Antonio Spurs versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and the Oklahoma City Thunder to Bo Nix and Chris Oladokin.
Yeah, I don't know. He's quarterbacking my team, and I don't know how to say his name or who he is.
You guys totally laid down against Tennessee.
Oladokin.
That was huge for the Browns.
Didn't watch the game, don't know. My season's been over for 2 weeks.
That was huge for the Browns. That put him in position to maybe pick second or even first overall.
Who the hell is this guy? He was a pick. He was a 7th round choice. Well, you forget names, man. You just forget them.
Was he one of the Dakotas?
He was South Dakota State.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, Lyman knows his FCS football. Yeah, I'm gonna watch Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Wemby over.
Wait, what about Jared Goff versus Max Brosmer?
Nope, I don't care. I know I have.
You said Brosmer?
Yeah.
Well, that changes everything.
I know I have Minnesota as my dynasty on NCAA football, but that ain't happening.
What about Dak Prescott versus Josh Johnson?
I've at least heard of Josh Johnson.
See, here's the funny thing to me.
That's the best QB matchup we have.
See, the funny thing to me is when people are like, Lima, you love your NBA, but guess what? Football is going to have the higher ratings, and I'm going to watch the football. And I'm like, well, you'd only be watching these games for gambling purposes, right?
Yes.
What do we know about overtime people that gamble?
They lose their money.
Yeah. So you're going to be watching and losing money on Josh Johnson, Max Brosmer, Chris Oladukin.
That's true. When you could be watching and losing your money over Darius Garland and Sam Merrill.
Hey, Darius is back. 2 straight games. He's got his 3-point shot back. I think he only grimaced once yesterday.
That's what we call hooping.
Hell yeah.
He only smarted once yesterday. It's either a grimace or a smart.
A wince?
A wince.
Darius?
He does wince at least once a game.
Well, he's not that
Yeah,
bad.
but what's his wince above replacement?
That's good.
I got a complaint today about Darius today. Or because I've said the Cavs are better with Darius on the floor.
Of course.
But are they at the point where they can compete? And it was a respectful back and forth, but I said, guys, I'm just telling you the truth here is that somebody's leaking these reports to these insiders, and it could very well be Darius that he doesn't want to be here, or it could very well be the Cavs. But he can't be moved. It's so hard to move him.
There's very little they can do. Let's see where they're at.
But that doesn't mean I'm going to be nice about the situation, considering it feels that both of them, they don't want him here, and it doesn't seem that he wants to be here. Why would this keep going out there then? Why would this keep being put out there?
Well, because we're trying to figure out. Honestly, Dan Gilbert, I guarantee, and not just him, management, because they can't make any moves in a double apron barely. I mean, there are some, but they'd have to get pennies on the dollar for their players. My guess is if they're still, after this rough stretch coming up, in which after the Pelicans game tonight, you've got the Knicks, you've got Wemby and the Spurs, you've got Denver, you've got Detroit, you've got Houston. If after that stretch they're like 8th in the Eastern Conference, you're going to see them start to shed some contracts because the
liquidation,
they want to get closer.
Fire sale?
Nah, not a fire sale, but they're going to want to get closer to where they don't have to pay $392 million for an 8 seed.
Yeah, but is Donovan? It could it turn into a fire sale? Because Donovan could look at it and go, "Well, what are we doing here?" Goodbye.
Well, I think Donovan might be thinking that already.
Okay,
but let's see how they do.
Things are going well.
If Darius plays really well like this, then they got a shot. They don't have Evan Mobley during this stretch, which is brutal. Defensively, because this is last night again. They were just giving up open shot. But anyway, you brought up the quarterbacks for Christmas.
Thank you.
So there are 55 quarterbacks that have started this year.
Guys, you guys might be getting yourselves a quarterback for Christmas today, and you don't know it.
Well, we already know because of Josh Johnson and the Oladukin guy.
Of course.
We're up to 57 quarterbacks, and the question is, Is there a chance we get 58 with the Browns over the last 2 games?
No, Shador's starting the last 2 games.
If he can stay healthy.
Shador's starting the last 2 games. Go ahead, tell everybody the news.
The window is today. Today, after a bizarre dodging of questions about him all year,
Shador answers questions, you rip him, but Kevin dodges them and you rip him too.
They have to finally make a decision with Deshaun Watson, and I just think it's been so weird.
Kevin was asked yesterday.
Yeah, listen to this.
No update today. I believe the window expires tomorrow, Joe, so I'll have an update for you guys tomorrow.
What are we doing?
Well, today's the day off, so they won't have an update.
Well,
they have to do it today.
Well, they have to issue a press release.
Because they did it on a Tuesday 21 days ago.
It's actually business. Yeah. They have to conduct some business today regarding him because the window
offices were closed. Sorry.
If they don't activate him today, the window is closed. His season is over. Zach Jackson said, my guess is the Browns will shut Watson down for the season, even if he's activated, likely just to keep him practicing. There was never much realistic chance he'd play this year.
He said they do have media availability today because you got Christmas on
they
Thursday.
moved everything up.
Thank you, Keith.
They moved everything up.
I appreciate your help.
I think they're Zooming. They're not going to do anything in person. And this is what happens when your GM doesn't talk and he dodges the media, since the trade deadline and their bye week, then the coach has to answer for it. And the coach... This is not, Kevin could still say, hey, I'll give you Andrew Berry's phone number. Maybe you guys can ask him.
But this is a downer of a question to ask people right before the Christmas break. But do you think that they are going to activate him, or are they going to go, no, we're shutting her down?
I think he's done. But
okay. Are you just done for the year?
Yeah.
Because I kind of want to ask people, and it'll be more apropos next week after probably, I hate to say it, a loss to Pittsburgh. Will there be people who just want to go, you know what, just take the cap hit and let's move away from this?
Yes.
Let's get the storm clouds away from the city and let's get moving on to something different.
I think a lot of people would be saying that.
Okay. Give you my answer next week. We will be back on Monday.
It's just, why the veil of secrecy over this? This is a player on your team that you traded a lot for. Why can't you just be honest about it?
Why the veil of secrecy on just about everything in this city? Why the veil on secrecy? How do we not know Stephen Vogt signed an extension? I mean, what's the veil of secrecy on everything?
Wait, this is news to me.
Well, we'd have ripped him for it?
You said you're back on Monday. Tomorrow's Football Guys show, though.
What do we got?
Daryl and Coach Lance.
Oh, that's a Football Guys show.
I've been asking.
Hell yeah.
He is my AI for the Browns. I go, hey, on 4th and 2, how many steps did Shador have before he has to deliver the ball? That answer tomorrow
on the Fan. We're back on Monday. Hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful Christmas.
That ball has to be out.
I will put on social media what I really think because I'll get made fun of by Tony. So you guys have a wonderful holiday. Take care.
And making sure that you're not booing, but you clap.
Hey,
sounds good.
Where's your entourage now?
Cool, I got on the last show.
Loser town, loser fans, and you guys are a loser show.
I'm the sports machine, Sean Levine, with an Odyssey Sports Minute. There are a bunch of fan bases in the NFL that know they could have a better quarterback. So